Ceremonies for this high-level summit on innovation and sustainable development in tourism. I'm editor-in-chief of FDI Magazine from the Financial Times. Now, as you will know, innovation and sustainability are both two key pillars of this particular mandate of the UNWTO, and the reason we're putting them together in one session is because they are intertwined completely. There can be no efforts towards sustainability without innovation and technology. So what we hope for this session is to really draw a line under the importance of both of these pillars, but more than that, discuss how they can work together. We will talk first about innovation and how UNWTO and its partners are helping to encourage innovation in the tourism sector and how that innovation lends itself to enhanced sustainability. Now, we have a wide range of speakers, as you can see, representing different aspects of this. We will encourage the speakers to be succinct where they can. We also would like to have some participation from you and encourage you to use the Slider app technology to be able to submit questions. So please go ahead and download that. And we will be also encouraging the representatives, all of the delegations here, to think as you hear these presentations about how you, as decision makers in your countries and as leaders of your tourism industries, how you can harness the beauties of technology and innovation to make for a better sustainable tomorrow and a more sustainable and natural tourism sector for all of us. And now we will bring up our first speaker, and if we can ask if everyone could take their seats and give us your attention, we would appreciate that greatly for the sake of our distinguished speakers that we will be having up here. To provide opening comments, I'm honored to introduce Ms. Zarina Dogozhevova. Apologies if I mispronounce any of the names on this program, by the way. Head of the Federal Agency of Tourism of the Russian Federation, our very gracious host for today. Thank you. Okay, apologies. We suspect that Ms. Dogozhevova is probably busy playing host to the many delegations here and networking, but we hope that she will join us for some closing remarks. So we will carry on. Now we want to take a look at, we talk a lot about innovation in theory, but we want to hear how it can actually be put into practice and how innovation can actually be built into the designations of how to create and build a tourism sector. And to tell us how you can take innovation from policy design straight through to implementation, we would like to invite Mr. Hassan Al-Ibrahim, Assistant Secretary General of the Qatar National Tourism Council. Qatar has played an extremely important role in working alongside the UNWTO in pioneering innovation in the tourism sector, which is fast growing in this country, and we hope that he'll tell us how he has done that. Is he here? There you are.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Before delving into my speech, I'd like to first thank our host, our hospitable host, the Federal Tourism Agency of Russia, for the seamless experience that we've been facing so far, and for their hospitality. And I'd also like to congratulate our friend, His Excellency, the Secretary General of the UNWTO, for the great success for his first General Assembly, and for the achievements that he's been achieving in the field of innovation. Qatar has long been committed to innovation and big ideas. This underlines our country's ethos and guides our policy choices. Most importantly, we know that development of any sort, particularly if it is to be economically sustainable, must be underpinned by innovative policies that support effective implementation and further our long-term strategic goals. Building our cities from the ground up, we're constantly looking at ever newer ways to leverage our resources, human, technological, natural, to diversify our economy and open our doors to the world. Qatar's National Vision 2030 laid the groundwork for directed development centering around sustainable growth through enabling our human potential, championing social development, building a competitive and diversified economy, and finding ways to develop in harmony with our environment. Qatar's National Development Strategy has designated tourism as one of 5 priority sectors to diversify the economy, and has recommitted Qatar to developing a knowledge-based economy, fostering research and innovation, and incubating entrepreneurship. Attracting educational and research partners to Qatar, we are becoming a global hub for innovation. Incubators and research entities within Qatar are unfettered in their pursuit of solutions to tackle large-scale problems. Qatar Foundation Research, Development and Innovation is an example of this. It houses 48 organizations which focus on finding sustainable solutions within education, industry, technology, healthcare, policy, and entrepreneurship. It further translates national priorities into specific initiatives to deliver maximum benefit both nationally and globally. Entrepreneurs in Qatar access to a wide range of support, from knowledge sharing to product testing, incubation to financing and scaling businesses. Qatar Development Bank promotes small and medium enterprises, SMEs, providing finance, technical know-how, and advisory products. The Qatar National Tourism Council, in partnership with the Qatar Development Bank's Incubation Center, supports tourism startups that enhance end-to-end experience for visitors to Qatar. Our policies aim to minimize red tape, whether to homegrown businesses or others. Qatar's current ranking in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index places us within the top 50% countries, with reforms continuing to make it easier to do business in Qatar. To this end, the Qatar National Tourism Council markets the destination as a host for trade shows and other business events. It focuses on businesses, and business events is yet another means of introducing people to our shores and showcasing the prioritization of innovation and sustainable development across our industry and beyond. The Qatar National Tourism Council strategy adopted a 2-pronged approach to policy changes, altering the organizational structure of Qatar's governing tourism body, evolving from a small authority to a National Tourism Council under the stewardship of the Prime Minister, and an intergovernmental and cross-industrial high-level board. A key function to the Tourism Council is to facilitate public-private partnerships and empower them to work together in developing new tourism products and projects. And new laws and policies have led to a number of large-scale tourism projects being fast-tracked, with others being open to both local and international private investors. E-licensing and standardized classification systems allows us to be increasingly competitive in the global tourism market. The second pillar of the next chapter carries out policy innovations, which opens out borders and improves end-to-end experience for visitors and businesses alike. With a growing presence in key markets around the world, we believe strongly in curating our offering to each market. We are now the most open country in the Middle East and one of the most open in the world, with over 80 nationalities able to visit Qatar without a visa. eGates at our cutting-edge Hamad International Airport allows residents to bypass lines, thereby reducing queues for visitors and ensuring seamless experience. The redevelopment of Doha Port has enabled us to woo cruise liners. With streamlining of processes, cruise visitors can be off their ship and in the heart of the city within minutes. Qatar's focus on innovation informs every sector in our development ecosystem, from improving the ground experiences for our visitors to enhancing our offerings within the realm of sports. With a tradition of sports in the region, we continue to develop infrastructure and facilities centered around sports. Hosting close to 80 sporting events annually, we attract some of the world's leading sports clubs and federations to host training camps in Qatar. Qatar is the first Middle Eastern country to earn the right to host the IAAF World Championship of Athletics in 2019, this year, the FIFA World Cup 2022 in 3 years, and the FINA World Swimming Championship in 2023. In Qatar, we live by the spirit of sport. Our policies are innovative, holistic, and based on an appreciation that we succeed together. Challenge 22 is a program which exemplifies this. Arab innovators have submitted their most creative and cost-effective ideas for topics including sustainable infrastructure and tourism experiences for the FIFA World Cup. Winners have received mentorship, global exposure, networking, and business support. The challenge, however, looks beyond 2022, ensuring positive legacy for innovation and sustainability around sports and sports tourism in Qatar, long after FIFA World Cup has moved on. Sports-focused businesses and education programs are under development. Qatar's own Hamad bin Khalifa University now offers a Master's of Science in Sports and Entertainment Management, as well as an online professional certification in sustainability and major sports events, which had been endorsed by FIFA as well as the Qatar National Tourism Council. Qatar Sports Tech is an accelerator program in Qatar that had been launched by governmental and corporate partners. The program travels around the world to find and engage with the startups from all around the world to reshape the industry of sports. Partnerships with the global entities further Qatar's country brand proposition and are another example of innovation towards governing our policymaking. As you heard in the first plenary session yesterday, the Qatar National Tourism Council is a founding partner of the UNWTO Tourism Online Academy, which will provide training in the fields of travel and tourism, hospitality, and destination management. We're also proud to supporting the UNWTO's new Global Sports Tourism Startup Competition in collaboration with FC Barcelona Innovation Hub. The competition aims to strengthen and enhance the entrepreneurship and innovation in sports tourism. Winners will be incubated in the Barca Innovation Hub, and their concepts will be considered for implementation in Qatar. We value our partnership with the UNWTO and are honored to support their initiatives as they innovate in the tourism sector. As the world grows ever smaller, we must innovate more. In Qatar, we live by this maxim, not only in our approach to tourism, but in everything that we do. We are committed to creativity and innovation, to solving world-scale problems, harnessing our human capital while maintaining a balanced relationship with our environment. Tourism, as we all know, is much more than a sector in a country's economy. It is the way by which we interact with and understand each other, how we inhabit, albeit briefly, another ways of being. Finally, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak before you all today, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much. There are indeed a lot of extremely interesting things going on in the area of sports tech. It's something I wrote a feature about recently. And sports and tourism are two industries that people don't necessarily think of as related to technology, but in fact, new technologies are supporting the development of both of those sectors, and there is a place where they combine that has many useful applications for tourism as well. And the case study of Qatar and what it's doing to promote innovation in sports and in tourism is a useful case study for us all. Now, what's also useful, as anyone who runs a startup will know, is to be matched with potential investors because, of course, the lifeblood of any startup is actually capital, and without that, without investment, they can't take any of these technologies to light. And with all of that in mind, there is a matchmaking platform that has been pioneered with the WTFL in collaboration with the UNWTO that will help connect startups in this space with investors. And we would like to invite up Professor Martin Barth, President and CEO of the World Tourism Forum Lucerne, to tell us about that.
Dear Secretary General Zurab Polorikashvili, Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends. When I first met Secretary General in March last year for breakfast, soon after his election in Berlin, we both had a vision to create a tool where investors can meet startups and startups can meet investors online. With that vision, I left Berlin home to Switzerland, and under the roof of the World Tourism Forum Lucerne, we started in a Swiss quality-driven process to develop such a matchmaking platform with the support of the Swiss government. I can now also proudly announce that this platform has been used and has been launched since early this year. But what is the aim of such a matchmaking platform? It's a simple aim. It's to simplify the matching process between startups and investors, and therefore to bring more investment in the travel, tourism, and hospitality industry. Now let me give you 4 USPs of this matchmaking platform. What is special about this platform? First, startups only have to register and create their individual profile once, and they can easily adapt regularly their data of their business models. So it's a dynamic pitch deck. Secondly, the startups decide themselves which of the data they want to make public and show to the investors. Third USP, thanks to a structured format, the process for investors or judges of a startup call or a competition to evaluate, to select, to prioritize, or to choose the right startups is much simpler and easier. And the fourth USP, investors will automatically get a notification once a startup registered and is matching with the profile the investor was putting on this matchmaking platform. Now, what are for you as UNWTO members or as organizers of such calls or competitions, what are the benefits for you? First, you can increase investment in the tourism industry. Secondly, higher efficiency thanks to a very structured tool. Third point, it's a worldwide tool. The idea is not that we have different tools and different data and different platforms. It's one worldwide tool. And the fourth point is it can not only be used by investors, but also by organizers of calls or startup competitions. So I'm very happy, and perhaps you could show 2 slides. One more, please. Yes, I'm very happy today to announce that the UNWTO decided to use the World Tourism Forum Lucerne Deal Flow tool for their second UNWTO Tourism Startup Competition, which will start today. And of course, you can see that on the next slide, the more startups we will bring in, the more investors will have an interest to put their profile. And the more startups and the more investors we have in that platform, we will create value, added value for the whole industry by getting in more investment. So I'm happy to discuss with you today or tomorrow how you would like to use this tool as well, and how you would like to add value to the industry, the travel, tourism, hospitality industry in your country, in your destination, or in your continent. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. That is an extremely practical way to be able to develop innovation and help innovative technology see the light of day and get out into the market. Another innovative and useful platform that is being developed, actually has been developed, this is a new initiative to present to you, and this is the UNWTO Online Innovation Hub. Now, up to now, there hasn't really been a proper digital platform that could connect all the players in the innovation ecosystem for the tourism sector, but now there is such a thing, and I would like to invite Natalia Bayona, Senior Expert for Innovation and Digital Transformation for UNWTO, to come and introduce that to you. She will subsequently lead a panel on startups afterwards.
Thank you, Courtney. It's my pleasure to be here again. I don't know if you remember, but 1 year and 4 months ago, we just launched the first department on the history of the UNWTO. So this is an exciting moment to us because, of course, as Secretary General addressed yesterday, we have top results thanks to the commitment of our member states and, of course, of the private sector. Without them, we cannot build these kind of platforms and these new ideas. So, as you know, when you are talking about innovation, and the UNWTO innovation strategy is focused on the ecosystem development. As you can see, we have launched in the past startup competitions. We have launched in the past 10 tourism tech adventures that are our innovation forums that aims to connect the key actors of the ecosystems, startups, investors, corporates, institutions, the academia, and of course, the national governments. And third of all, as you know, we launched a month ago, in January, the first global innovation hub that is Wakalua, thanks to the partnership that we had with Globalia. So, of course, after we have done those 3 programs, this is the time to build the first online platform where we can build with you and where we can promote with you innovation in your countries. So let's start. So what is the Online Innovation Hub? So as I already said, when we brainstorm with the Secretary General, with the UNWTO team, with Globalia, with Martin Barth, etc., we realized that in the world, there is no unique platforms that joins together all the member states, where you can find information of all the industry regarding innovation. And of course, a place where you can join startups, investors, and organizations sharing information. So what content will the UNWTO Innovation Hub has? Basically, what we are thinking is to upload there specialized content and useful applications for all the agents that are involved. So if I am a startup, I can upload the content. If I am a government that wants to promote innovation in the tourism sector, I can upload the content. If I am a corporate that wants to pilot a project with a startup, I can open the floor there to invite different entrepreneurs to work with the private sector. And of course, this would be the first place in the world, because there's no online platform where you can share values regarding new technologies. So IoT, or Internet of Things, blockchain, artificial intelligence, big data. So if you want to see how to use those technologies for the tourism sector, we can upload there some reports. So regarding the content, we would have content by type, as I already said. So startups, member states, etc. Content by country. So what we want to achieve is to have the global map of the world. And when you click a country, you can find the whole information regarding innovation of that country. So to have the top investors, the top entrepreneurs, what is the government doing regarding innovation for the tourism sector. Of course, this platform would be the place where we can, where we would upload the UNWTO events, the agenda of our startup competitions, and of course, we would have content by verticals. So if you want to innovate in gastronomy, in cruises, in culture, of course, you can be allowed, and this platform is going to have the whole information regarding the different verticals of the tourism sector. And regarding the applications that we would have inside the platform, we would have inside this platform, we would have WTFL platform. So when you go inside this platform, you would have matchmaking opportunities. This is crucial. We would have a job factory. So regarding jobs, the governments, the startups, every single person that is working on innovation can upload there different positions and open positions regarding new added value jobs that are needed in the different startups or in the different divisions that are working on innovation worldwide. We can upload reports, and of course, we can upload the startup competitions. So as I already said, the matchmaking, I think Martin already gave us a strong speech regarding of what we are planning to do. And basically, thank you, Martin, and thanks to this platform, we can have easier and leaner results because we could have a strong pipeline regarding who is investing in tourism startups, which are the main successful case studies regarding entrepreneurship. Regarding the Job Factory, as I already said, this is a platform that would help us to build new jobs, to build new opportunities, to build economic growth. Of course, as you know, remote jobs is one of the main trends regarding not only innovation, regarding all the sectors, the economic sectors in the world. So you can have there, of course, remote opportunities in order to be either trained or to have a temporary job. As I already said, regarding the reports, you can buy online white papers regarding innovation. We can filter this by categories. And regarding the startup competitions, this is crucial. Today, the Secretary General and Javier Hidalgo, the CEO of Globalia, they will launch the second global startup competition. So of course, everything has to be inside the same house, inside the same online platform. So what we are doing here is to merge all the information regarding those startup competitions, those startup calls, in order to have an online house specialized, of course, on innovation. Of course, this Innovation Hub network or this project will be developed in partnership with Wakalua, Unidigital, and the World Tourism Forum in Lucerne, because, as you know, without them, these type of initiatives wouldn't be possible. I don't know if it's possible to do next, there. So, as you know, and as I already said, we just launched those presential houses. Wakalua is in Spain, then Luis would tell us more. Unidigital is on the Americas, and Martin works actively with us in Switzerland. So basically, with them, we have to develop a committee in order to upload precise and, of course, the most important information regarding the trends and realities on tourism innovation. Regarding the branding, of course, it would be within the branding of the UNWTO. It would be inside the UNWTO website. So please, next. 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 So this is like the look and feel. Next. Next. So as I already said, you can see here the map. What we want to is that in Fitur, we have this map full of information, of your information, of the information of the countries that wants to promote innovation. So we can, when you click there, you can find the single information about the top entrepreneurs of the countries, top investors of the countries, top reports from the countries, and as I already said, to have a job factory and to join together all the dots in order to give opportunities to everyone. And finally, just to finish, in a couple of months, we would have, as I already said, inside the UNWTO website, we would have innovationhub.unwto.org. So you would find there the whole information. We are hyper committed with you regarding this platform, but what we need is the information. So of course, we will be glad to have not only a person that can help us inside the national governments, but also to make this happen and to make this powerful and to make this a showcase and to showcase this to the world and to take the tourism sector to the next level. So thank you. Now, I think it's the most funny and happy part of the General Assembly. As you know, we have young, brilliant minds that we have helped within the startup competitions. So, as Secretary General said yesterday, we launched 10 tourism tech adventures that were 10 regional/global tourism innovation forums where we did startup competitions there. Today, we have those brilliant minds here to share with us what happened with them quite after those competitions, why it's important to work with the governments regarding innovation, and of course, a lot of persons here has asked me about my dress, and I have to say that this is a very special day because this was made by a startup. So, and this bracelet as well is from a colleague, Soritza, that is made by another startup. So we are young people here. We are committed about youth, about entrepreneurship, and of course, about innovation. So please, the startups, I would like you to join me to the next panel in order to talk about why are you changing the way we travel. Thank you.
With Puvo, you can book your hotel room using any website. Then forward your reservation to save@puvo.com, and at that same moment, we will start monitoring your hotel reservation price on a large number of sources, and we'll let you know once there is a better price for the exact room you already booked. Now all you have to do is make a new reservation for the lower price and save money.
Our startup Nenemi has developed a platform which links Asian travelers with unique and certified experiences with the objective of favoring alternative tourism. In order to guarantee the quality of the service and to help Mexican tourism infrastructure, we developed an e-learning certificate that seeks to raise awareness and train about Asian culture.
I'm Peter Mangan, founder of the Freebird Club from Ireland, a peer-to-peer social travel and homestay club for older adults. It allows approved members to travel and stay with each other as part of a trusted community of like-minded peers. Because it's based around social interaction, it mobilises older adults to travel, especially those who don't have anyone to go with or don't have the confidence to go alone. It helps older adults to sustain themselves financially by being able to earn an income from their spare rooms in later life.
At Econobia, we help local communities to discover their own natural and cultural heritage treasures, put it into action through tourism practices in order to receive financial and psychological benefits. Currently, we feel huge positive impact on the local communities living around us by providing them jobs for both gender and allowing them to share their rich heritage with the visitors. They enjoy 4 times more in terms of income than before starting the project, and their pride about their heritage is much, much higher than before.
Do you want to scale your business? Do you want to automate your customer service? Then you're at the right place. We help your customers in the travel sector to automate up to 80% of the incoming messages. How do we do that? We integrate our AI together with the natural language processing. When you do that, you will increase customer satisfaction, brand loyalty, and you will scale your business easily.
Rawbook is using a unique marketplace model to enable tourism in Africa. We work with governments, communities and agents to identify, develop, and distribute tourism products and packages online. We make these options available to our customers on an online marketplace rawbook.com, where they can book directly with local agents, pay up to 12 months in installments, or use a travel wallet to save for travel experience. We believe we're enabling Africa to fund and afford travel and tourism.
GDX is helping airlines worldwide connect remote communities, promote responsible tourism, and at the same time is helping governments not only to increase inbound tourism, but to know in detail about it through our AI and data science tool. This is helping them to be more efficient in their marketing strategies.
Lives is a platform that gives tools to promote different African destinations around the world.
Refundit is revolutionizing the frustrating, bureaucratic, and difficult process of VAT refunds for tourists, creating a fully digital solution from A to Z, end to end, bringing real value to governments, to retailers, and to tourists. Since the competition, the doors have opened up for us for great dialogues with governments around Europe, and in the coming month we will be announcing additional countries that are adopting our solution. We've just finalized a round of financing which is led by travel industry players, also based on the competition that we won. I want to take this opportunity on behalf of Refundit and on behalf of myself to say to Secretary General Polo Likashvili and to say to Natalia Bayonia and the UNWTO team, you guys do a great job for Travel Tech and for travel. Thank you very much.
So regarding the time we had, we decided to do this video in order to aware you about the different solutions that we have seen worldwide speaking. Unfortunately, the global winner couldn't come. That is the one from Refundit, so that's why he sent that strong message to us. So, are you excited today? Of course. I am excited today, you know, because we have startups from Egypt, Senegal, Uganda, Israel, Colombia, Czech Republic, Mexico, Ireland, and of course, Germany. So, when we are talking about entrepreneurship, results are crucial. So, I would like to give you the floor, my dear startups. And I would like to know what happened with you after those innovation forums, what happened with you after the startup competitions, and of course, why is it important to work between the national governments, the UNWTO, and of course, the entrepreneurs? So let's start here.
Thank you, Natalia. Hello, everybody. I'm Ahmed Yahya from Egypt. So the project, after winning the prize of the UNWTO, it opened new doors for us. The exposure is extremely positive because now we have huge amount of searches about Econobia on the internet, on the online platforms, and we doubled our deals, P2B deals, with businesses, other businesses like tourism companies, and our relationship with the government enhanced a lot once they got to know our model, business model, and they are helping us to expand and to enhance more the business model we have. And they even created new license system for the eco-lodges. And I would like to thank Dr. Rani Al-Mshat, Minister of Tourism of Egypt, for continuous helping of the new businesses that we are part of it. And the other thing that we faced after winning the prize is confidence in our business model. The prize proved to us that our business model is working brilliant, that now we are looking for expansion. It's a successful model with a good profit, and the sky is the limit. Now we are talking with Oman about doing eco-lodges over there. We are talking to Uzbekistan about that. So we are trying to expand in Egypt and outside Egypt too. Investors are so happy with the feedback that we got from the UNWTO, and they would like us to move on and to have another one. The local community, they are so happy when they heard about winning the prize, and I would like to transfer their regards to the UNWTO team for them to feel proud about their heritage and about their treasures. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is David Gonahasa from Uganda. Prior to winning the prize, we ran an online travel agency that helped the African market or African consumers buy tourism and travel, primarily in Africa, because we were trying to drive towards intra-Africa and domestic travel. We think it's the biggest growth market potentially right now. After winning the prize, one of the biggest problems we realized that we had was around product development, because yes, while we were able to create intent and interest to the tourists, the biggest problem was that most of the product was either pre-colonial tourism product that was generally available in the market. And what we worked towards primarily was how would we build new product? So working with the IE Africa Center, we tried to find a structure to help us, one, scale our impact and be more relevant on the African continent. And what we were doing primarily was around product development, working with agents to be able to create tourism product, make it available online and be able to sell it. The key problem for them was primarily, one, creating a new product means you have to, of course, identify it, package it, advertise it, promote it, accept payment, so many challenges. And what we've done is build a box solution to help them do this, right? So agents on Roundbob today are able to create a product through a standardized package design system, be able to distribute it online on our marketplace and third-party marketplaces, and also be able to accept payments all in one, and we believe that this should be able to grow tourism numbers on the continent. Just to give you a very brief case study, we're working today with a 500,000 coffee association to try and build coffee tourism in Uganda as a test. We're working with the Kampala city to try and build urban tourism options in the city. And lastly, we're trying to scale up and test out in Johannesburg, South Africa. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Itai, the CEO of Puvo. Since the startup competition, we made some amazing achievements from the side of the product and the funnels, improving every KPI by almost doubled, and started a collaboration with multiple partners as a booking sites like Kiwi.com and others, and helping them start monetizing those customers that didn't make the reservation for the hotel directly with them. So this is regarding the achievement that we had since the competition. We were asked about how startups can help the education and people, the young generation, to get some new abilities and stuff like that. So this is the question that I want to answer. And what I see is that startups are the real schools. And as an entrepreneur, you experience and you face questions, decisions, and you have to do everything and learn everything by yourself in a very short time. And I believe this is some capability that you can only get by being in a startup. So I believe that universities and schools around the world should collaborate with startups and do some internships and others and give the young generation the skill sets that you can only get by being part of a startup. And more than that, giving the young generation a way and the thinking that they can achieve everything they really want if they only dare to dream. So that's all. And one more thing before I finish, don't forget to download the application of Pruvo. You can save a lot of money on hotels worldwide, and the application is free. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. We were lucky enough to win 2 awards at the UNWTO Global Startup Competition in Madrid, the Sustainability and Impact Award and the Investment Partner Award. And this has led to our first round of investment as a startup, involving the sponsors Globalia, who are here today, and Portugal Ventures. And this has actually directly led to matched funding from an EU-backed social innovation fund, which allows us to further enhance our development plans. So with this, we're actually about to set up our first international office in Porto in Portugal, and I'd love to speak to some of the Portuguese here today, where we'll be having a technology team and a business development and marketing function. And we're also about to start work on a brand new website. What we've achieved today is on the basis of a very basic MVP, minimum viable product website. So I'm very excited to start work on the kind of platform, the kind of technology that can realize the full vision of the Freebird Club. And the Freebird Club vision is to change the world for older adults, making it a much more fun and inclusive place that we can all look forward to growing old in. And I believe with the right partners and with the right investors, we can achieve that. As an entrepreneur, I've been standing at the foot of this mountain for quite some time now, and I believe the UNWTO Startup Competition has actually provided the boots and the equipment to help us scale. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Because we are on innovation, I am thinking about changing the methodology of the panel. So let's change the question to the other part of the group. How can startups help to build added value jobs regarding technology? What do you think?
Well, so basically, I'm James from GDX. So startups move fast, we innovate, we keep moving forward, we dare to question the status quo, we dare to solve the impossible. So we're constantly looking for added value jobs. We're constantly looking especially for jobs in the tech field, like data scientists, engineers that could actually help us solve these problems. We're definitely contributing to these added value jobs because we're creating this huge demand for talent that is helping us reshape industries, reshape our businesses.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is John Rhee. Because the video is missing, so let me start briefly introducing my startup. We are Czech Republic-based, and we are building multilingual restaurant menu platform as an application for smartphones. So anybody traveling abroad with a language barrier, from now on, you will be able to read and order from any restaurant menus in your own languages. About the question, I have a little bit different perspective that even though many countries are trying to create new jobs, create new value-added jobs, also there are many countries that are suffering from a shortage of labor, especially like a Czech Republic or Japan. They are suffering from this. So I think this is where startups can come into play. So for fair redistribution of workforce or better redistribution of workforce, so by bringing up productivity and efficiency of businesses so that they can better utilize their workforce in overall economy. That's what I think. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nancy Bautista from the Mexican company Nenemi. So also we think that startups can help by adding value jobs by first to helping all the youth in like engineering, marketing. We can create a lot of content and new data that we can share it with other companies, with the government, even with ONGs, because as we were discussing this morning, this is the area of knowledge, and that you have knowledge in your phone. So I think that we can, with the startups, we can also scale up a lot the enterprises in a very fast way. So it doesn't matter if you're in Mexico, you can be everywhere and we can stay connected. So I think that's one of the things. And also, since our core business has a training program, I think that we can also help by continue developing new knowledge and skills. For instance, in Mexico, we are developing this e-learning program for restaurants, hotels, transportation, and other companies, where we help them to realize what's the new tendency in the world tourism, which is East Asian traveling to many different countries, as I bet also they're traveling to yours. So we can also scale this up, and fortunately we can scale it up to Latin America and many other countries, so we can continue developing new skills that it's very needed in the industry. Thank you.
So hi everyone, I'm Xaver, one of the founders of eBot7, and actually what we do is we provide agents with support in their daily operations, so that they actually can work faster and kind of communicate faster with their customers or with the tourists in this case. And why startups are important, I think, is because, like, look at the most successful and biggest companies nowadays. It's Google, it's Microsoft, it's Amazon, it's Apple. It's all these companies that like 20, 30, 40 years ago were also startups, right? And I think this is an important part, because if you look at the companies now, they might be the bigger or the biggest players in a couple of years or in 5, 10 years time, because technology is very fast. And so startups being founded now in these days could be the next Apples and Googles and everything. So I think startups in this sense are a really good driver of economic growth, of like, getting people on board, rising up the employment rates, and also why startups are important is because they disrupt traditional industries, right? So I'm from Germany, so we've got like the biggest industries now, or in our case, it's the automotive industry. So if Tesla wouldn't have been there, I think would have taken them much longer until they really thought, okay, now we actually have to go electric. So I think Tesla did a good job in disrupting this traditional industry and at least making them think what else could be good. So this is actually my opinion. So thank you very much.
Okay, so we have seen different perspectives regarding added value jobs, regarding innovation. So I am hyper thankful with you, brilliant minds, because of course this is teamwork, you know? Of course, UNWTO and the private sector is working with you, but of course we need you to empower the tourism sector and to take the tourism sector to the next level. So I don't know what do you expect for the second global startup competition, but before we give the floor to our Secretary General and to Javier, I know that all of you has this in your seats, and basically is our innovative gift for today. Everyone has a SIM card that has roaming for free for the whole year. So this is a very innovative project. This is an innovative gift because, of course, we are in the tourism sector. We are always traveling a lot. So thanks to the Secretary General and his vision, and of course to Javier and his team, we today have this SIM card to talk all around the world, and of course for you would be free. So I would like to thank you, all of you, to end this panel with a lot of energy, because I think the most exciting things are coming. So thank you.
And as you heard, there will be now the launching of the second such competition, so we will soon be figuring out who will be in the mix to be sitting in these seats the next time around. So for that, I would like to invite up Javier Hidalgo, CEO of Globalia, and the Secretary General of UNWTO, Mr. Zurab Polelikashvili.
In 2018, almost 3,000 startups joined the UNWTO Tourism Startup Competition. This first ever Tourism Startup Challenge looked for the most innovative, disruptive, and sustainable solutions in tourism. Today, winning startups from around the world have scaled their solutions and are running pilot programs with leading tourism corporations or have received corporate mentoring and investment. The World Tourism Organization, in collaboration with Wakalua, the first global tourism innovation hub powered by Globalia, launches the second UNWTO Tourism Startup Competition.
Welcome to the second Startup Tourism Competition.
We want to find those brilliant ideas changing the way we experience travel and making tourism more sustainable.
We believe that through sustainable innovation, we can transform the future of travel industry.
Together with our leading industry partners, we are searching for the most innovative, disruptive, and sustainable tourism solutions focused on smart destinations, smart mobility, disruptive hospitality, rural development, and deep technology.
Our aim is to create opportunities that generates jobs and social growth.
Apply and enjoy the adventure.
Become part of it. Scale your startup. Join the challenge.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Secretary General, for all your support, ministers, authorities, delegates, and participants. It is an honor for Globalia to launch this second tourism startup competition with the WTO. From the very beginning, we conceived this competition as a global collective effort. And we are happy to announce partnership with leaders, companies, and institutions. The startup competition is the biggest annual project of our innovation hub, Wakalua. It will help us to promote a circular economy and push social development. Globalia knows that the tourism of the future will not be the same as today. We need to do better for the present and future generations and protect our environment. This competition will help us to find the best projects to achieve these goals. We need to find answers to all these challenges facing the transformation of this industry. I would like to thank these brilliant minds that are actually giving us this visibility of what's going to be the future of this industry. And we really need to be very conscious that this industry, it might change the future of our planet. And we need to really be sustainable. We really need to create new concepts of tourism, protecting our environment, protecting the populations that we're going to visit as a tourist, integrate and interchange cultures with each other. And I believe that we have to be really also on technology, create and improve this situation that at this moment we have a lot of challenge, and we believe that with these projects we're going to be really changing the future, the present and the future of this world. Thank you very much.
Gracias, Javier, por tu apoyo desde el primer día. Yo voy a cambiar ahora por inglés. Sigo en español porque no he practicando en esta sesión. Pues desde el primer día, cuando hemos empezado sobre startups, los proyectos, pues desde el primer día tu empresa está al lado y muchas gracias. Sin tu apoyo era muy difícil presentar tantos proyectos brillantes, como decía Natalia, y estoy muy feliz que tenemos con nosotros más de 10 representantes de todos los continentes del mundo. Yo estoy hablando 3 días y no voy a seguir más. Lo que pasa es que quiero pedir a nuestros miembros países que nos manden más proyectos que sean más activos, y nosotros solo para ayudar y tú para invertir. Entonces, les felicito a todos. Yo creo que vamos a pensar ayudar y hacer unas competiciones temáticas, y el año que viene vamos a apostar mucho en turismo rural y ecoturismo. Hay un montón de ideas creativas que nosotros no sabemos y tenemos, como decías tú, para desarrollo sostenible, traer y saber más lo que podemos hacer en regiones, cómo podemos hacer y cómo podemos utilizar innovación en regiones para crecer nuevos puestos de trabajo. Natalia nos presentó y Martín esta tarde unos hubs de innovación, unos sitios, plataformas que hemos creado, y no creo que vamos a crear más hubs para no confundir ni nuestros miembros países ni nosotros mismos, pero un próximo anuncio que quiero hacer, y vamos a trabajar juntos, es muy importante crecer nuevos puestos de trabajo. Entonces nosotros tenemos academia, tenemos UNWTO Academy, tenemos academia online, tenemos hub de innovación y tenemos casi todo preparado para crecer un proyecto más. Y quiero anunciar, y necesito su apoyo para crear, no sé cómo vamos a llamar, yo me imagino UNWTO Jobs, donde cualquier persona que termina ese academy, ahí tenemos hubs para ayudarles a buscar trabajo. Y eso es nuestro objetivo número 1 y vamos a hacerlo. Yo creo que sería muy buena idea tener un hub de jobs donde cualquier persona va a tener posibilidad de buscar y nosotros ayudar para tener un trabajo sin ningún compromiso. Muchísimas gracias a todos, les felicito a todos. Y otra vez, no tengo ninguna duda que la segunda competición sería mucho más exitoso que el primero.
Thank you very much to that, and good luck to all the startups who will be competing in this competition. Now, you heard Natalia mention already the Wakalua Innovation Hub. It was born a year ago, and some details on this just now will help you see some of the support services that might be on offer for innovative startups in this space. So I'd like to invite up Mr. Luis Urita, who's the co-director of Wakalua.
Hello. Thank you all, authorities, delegates, entrepreneurs, participants. It's an honor to present Wakalua Innovation Hub. I want to especially remark the vision and determination of Secretary General of UNWTO, Mr. Javier Hidalgo from Globalia, Natalia from UNWTO, and all Wakalua team that really push and make this possible. This project possible. As you all know, tourism is a cross-cutting economic activity with deep social ramifications. This puts the sector in a unique position to create impact and push social development, creating jobs and generating opportunities. You know these figures? Around 10% of the global GDP, 10% of the jobs are created through the tourism industry, but here we have an opportunity that is through the transformation and accelerating the digitalization of the sector, migrate around 100 billion of value from traditional players to new competitors like the ones you just saw, these magnificent startups. Also generate benefits valued in around 700 billion for customers and society through cost savings, time, and environmental impact. So what's Wakalua? Wakalua is a collaborative platform designed to empower entrepreneurial talent. It pushes open innovation models and fosters local ecosystems, finding new business solutions and spreading sustainable opportunities worldwide. In Wakalua, we connect startups, corporations, public institutions, investors, and we generate a virtuous dynamics like access to the markets, rising investment, innovation sourcing, reskilling programs. So we have 4 main tracks that make possible to deploy these kind of objectives. Wakalua initially acts as an operative system of the global startup competition, recently launched the last panel. We also develop specific innovation programs where we develop 2-month scale-up programs for the scale-ups to scale up these startups you saw today and help them in the fitting with big corporations. We also develop specific local ecosystem programs that help to foster ecosystems for partners like countries and cities that are getting engaged into Wakalua network. And of course, cross-investment programs. Wakalua, thanks to its agile approach and their committed partners, had achieved to obtain results in a short terms. We've been speaking in this event about results and how to achieve it in a short term. We affiliated more than 100 startups to our ecosystem. We partnered with 11 leading institutions. Our partners did 2 corporate investments, 1 joint venture, and we implemented 1 pilot. And of course, delivered the first global startup competition, all this in 6 months. We are reinforced by this and motivated to continue pursuing results in every project we launch. I want to especially thank our partners. I want to remark their vision, proactivity, and commitment of our global partners, Globalia, Amadeus, Telefónica, Portugal Ventures, Intu, Valencian Digital District, Muleman Platforms, and Brazil. They bring all their industry knowledge, network, ecosystem, and tools to help us scale and amplify our reach, results, and impact. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Brief but fantastic explanation of this great tool. Now, a country that has done very well in innovation, really one of the world leaders in innovation, is Israel. So we wanted to invite the CEO of Access Israel, Ms. Michael Ramon, apologies for any mispronunciation, to tell us about innovation for social impact on accessible and inclusive tourism and how technology is promoting that.
Hello, good afternoon to you all. Deep breath. Now I can continue. I am Michal Rimon, and I'm the proud CEO of Access Israel. I'm proud of the organization I'm here on behalf, promoting accessibility and inclusion for all types of disabilities in all areas of life. Proud of the projects that we do for the past 20 years, but most of all, proud of the people who make Access Israel the organization it is, the human factor. This is going to be the focus of my speech today. But before we begin, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak in this important assembly. This is everything we believe in: doing, sharing, learning on an international basis, remembering that an accessible future in general, and specifically in tourism, is a better and more sustainable one for all of us. On this note, I would like to thank the World Tourism Organization and ONCE for the inspiration of an accessible future they added to the incredible opening ceremony on Tuesday night. And I join ONCE's call with a hope to see all awardees next year incorporate the goal of accessibility in all of their nominations and also in the innovation hub that we just heard about. This is also an opportunity to thank the Ministry of Tourism in Israel, who has put accessible tourism on the table as a goal to be reached, combining all players in the field of Israeli tourism. They, along with our great partners in the Foreign Ministry, suggested this opportunity to attend the WTO Assembly this year. For most of us, when you get an opportunity to speak in St. Petersburg, in a country you never visited before, it presents a great opportunity to do some touring. I heard this is a beautiful country and city, so hey, we decided to come. We found a hotel, something nice, centered within our budget, booked a flight, and basically knew that whatever free time we will have, and I'm still waiting for that free time, there's a lot to see and we'll have a good time. Wait. According to the UN, about 15% of global population are people with disabilities. Another 10% are the elderly. For them, planning a trip as simply as I did is not really possible. For the largest minority in the world, traveling spontaneously is not something they can do. For them, accessibility is not a bonus, it's a critical must. Now let us remind ourselves what accessibility is in tourism. First, we need to look at it as a sequence, from gathering preliminary information, booking flights, transportation, accommodation, museums. If any one of these parts of the sequence is not fully accessible, it will usually result in disappointment and will prevent people with disabilities and the elderly to tour like everybody else. Secondly, we need to remember that accessibility differs from disability to disability. The needs and solutions are different if you're with a wheelchair or if you're blind. Thirdly, accessibility is relevant to all interface between the business and the client with disability. All types of services must be accessible for all disabilities. That means that the website, application, reservation call center, staff service, advertisement, information, and events all have to be accessible for all types of disabilities. So for all of those in the business tourism and all the countries that promote tourism, if you want to enjoy and profit from this amazing giant target market, make sure this sequence of tourism is fully accessible for everyone. Making tourism accessible goes beyond the right thing to do socially and advancing our goal to fulfill the UN SDG 10 to reduce inequalities. It is the right thing to do from a business point of view, since an accessible business is a more profitable one. To sum this first point, accessible tourism done right is worth billions for you. You have to join. I know that for many of you sitting in this assembly, accessibility for people with disability usually refers to the physical aspects of accessibility. But we need to remember that physical accessibility is just part of the game. I know all this is not new to the WTO, and I know that many of the challenges we face in Israel, budget, stigmas, old cities, etc., are similar to many other countries sitting here in this assembly. But I would like to focus on something that is relatively unique in Israel. 20 years ago, we adopted the legislation for the rights of people with disabilities. As part of this legislation, beyond requiring physical accessibility, we adopted very detailed regulations on the accessibility of services. These regulations require something that has dramatically changed the possibility for real inclusion in Israel. Namely, that by law in Israel, every service provider has to go through annual training on accessible services for people with disability, annual. In addition, by law, service providers have to go through experiences in accessibility, at least one, because hey, you can't just talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. You have to really sit in a wheelchair, blindfold, walk, try what you are offering for people who cannot enjoy it the same way you perceived. Now think of your experience as a tourist. The human factor you encounter along the way, in the airport, on public transportation, at the hotel, museum, restaurant. While the level of physical accessibility might differ from country to country, the fact that there is interaction with the human factor is common to us all. This is why we focused on training that human factor. The goal of our training was to enable everyone to receive services in an accessible, inclusive, friendly, respectable way while providing maximum independence. Another goal was to provide practical and sensible tools to the service providers to enable them to give a better and more accessible service. This, in combination with the experiential part, helped us train service providers the human factor and turn them into a human ramp, with a readiness to help, the knowledge, the right set of tools, and the sensitive instincts to help. The service providers are ready to recognize in advance any obstacle of accessibility problem they occur and help people with disability making their experience enjoyable. Our training methodology, which was chosen by UNDESA as one of the best practices in urban accessibility in 2016, the 4 pillars for accessible services include knowledge, getting to know the person behind the disability, experience, and the power to change, providing tools and tips on how to spread the word and make a difference. We knew that the training had to provide knowledge that is customized to the needs of every service provider in the tourism industry and incorporates one of Israel's strengths, being a startup nation, exposing service providers to cutting-edge technological solutions. But we also understood that we had to make sure that we are memorable, not just another knowledgeable lecture one will later forget. We wanted to connect this topic to the gut of each of the participants. And that is when we started the experiential activities I mentioned before, to enable the service provider to experience how it is receiving service from the perspective of someone with a disability. For our third pillar, we knew that in order to truly make a difference and a long-lasting effect, it's not enough that I will come and talk. We had to make a direct connection between the service provider and the potential customers with disability. So we trained people with disabilities as professional instructors, enable participants to get to know the person behind the disability, and giving them an opportunity to ask all the questions that you never felt comfortable asking, but once you do ask and you get an answer, barriers slowly break. Our instructors, I must say, are not superstars necessarily, not champions. They're everyday, amazing people sharing their knowledge and their everyday experience in a professional way. The combination of knowledge, experience, getting to know the person behind the disability turned out to be an innovative combination to create immediate change. Add to that the tools we provided to pay it forward in the fourth pillar, and you have a winning, duplicable methodology easily adapted to various cultures, service providers, and level of awareness. In order to be able to reach large organizations with many employees, we developed e-learning methodology and videos to enable these trainings to take place with a low budget and time constraints that many of our users had. To sum my second point, the physical ramp is important, but it is not enough. The human, well-trained ramp makes the difference. Finally, to the most updated challenge we will all need to take into account: living in the technological era. Until now, accessibility was always done retroactively, fixing physical accessibility in buildings retroactively, correcting service accessibility with service providers. Today, we need to understand that the world in general, and tourism specifically, are turning to be more and more technological, with people gathering information and comparing prices on the website, using Google Earth to preview accessibility in tourist destinations in advance, online registration, use of automated kiosks, booking restaurants through applications, and more. We need to make sure that whatever new technologies are developed to serve tourists, they must be accessible by design on day one to all tourists, including those with a disability, and I urge the amazing 10 technologies that presented to make sure that what you are presented can be used by everyone, by the blind, by the cognitive disability, by the people in wheelchairs, etc. Access Israel is about to launch a community promoting tech-accessible solutions for all disability in all areas of life, including tourism, and will be more than glad to cooperate with the amazing initiatives that were presented here. Around the corner, we face a future where service providers will be digital and technological. Looking forward, I will not be surprised if in the near future, our trainees for accessible services will not only be the human staff, but rather robots and applications. I don't know how you feel about that. I'm ready to adjust my training accordingly. And together, we will fulfill the spirit and goal of the UN SDGs, leaving no one behind. And remember, a more accessible world is a better one for us all. Last point, we all invite you to our 8th annual International Conference on May 22nd in Israel, where together we can talk about the future of accessible tourism and the future of accessibility. Thank you very much for putting this on the table, and thank you.
Thank you for that. It's extremely important to remind us of the importance, really, of making tourism accessible to everyone. So excellent initiative there. Now, we've talked a lot already about the innovation pillar. Now we will move on to the second, but equally important pillar of sustainability. And of course, that is impacted by and improved by these many technologies and initiatives that you've just heard of. To set the scene for us and talk about tourism, sustainability, and climate change, a common challenge that we all need to address, including with the use of technology, I'd like to invite Mr. Manuel Butler, Executive Director at UNWTO.
Good afternoon to everyone. We have seen how innovation and digitalization can drive efforts on the road to a more sustainable tourism. This high-level summit, we are focusing on two of the most important challenges that our sector is facing: digitalization and sustainability. Tourism is in full redefinition. When we talk about sustainability, we talk about climate change immediately. Climate change affects the sense of tourism. We cannot forget that tourism, born in the mid-20th century, has a component based on the good weather that societies in the coldest countries look for in the warm beaches of other destinations. It is a tourism that is based on the intensive consumption of fossil fuel energy in transport, on the intensive use of territories and infrastructures. The sense of tourism, as we know it, is being altered. The Earth is a unit, a living unit. What we occurs at one point affect the rest. Widely, the GHGs, such as CO2, are changing the Earth's energy balance. This can have immediate consequences, generally of a local nature, and others that are prolonged and that manifest in the long term and have a very large and global inertia. Correcting them when they are already running is very difficult. It's as we wanted to abruptly change the course of a very large cruise ship of hundreds of thousands of tons. Tourism is a vector and at the same time a key agent in the fight against climate change due to increasing weight in the world's GDP and employment, which affects the welfare of the nations. We have a huge responsibility. At UNWTO, we are aware of this responsibility. Since 2018, we have reinforced our efforts in measurement and action, as explained at the General Assembly yesterday by our Secretary General, Paul Ilikashvili. We are on our way for having an international standard of measuring the sustainability of tourism. It will be a very relevant milestone since it will allow to know how the sector evolves in such transcendental matter. As pointed out, one of the characteristics of climate change is the local factor. In the measurement of the local level, we are strengthening our network of INSTO observatories with the incorporation of 61 new ones, totaling 27. It is essential to establish a relationship between climate change and tourism in order to promote in a rigorous way decisions that can contribute to low carbon practices. We and WTO and the International Transport Forum are working together to update the contribution of tourist transport to HEG emissions to include recommendations for political action. What is measurement so important? Climate change does not vary linearly. There are tipping points that generate dangerous discontinuities. We don't know the values of these tipping points, if we are very close or there is still a certain margin. Acting is urgent. We cannot lose time. Climate change's consequences can be mitigated or we can adapt to them, like the energy transition to renewable energies and the circular economy. At UNWTO, we're collaborating with different stakeholders in the tourist value chain to move towards a circular economy using supply chains as levers. We can have a global vision through our leadership recently renewed to 2022 in the One Planet program. It aims to boost the economic growth, which we cannot give up globally, decoupling it from the consumption of natural resources. For the first time, humanity is aware that the resources of planet Earth are not infinite, but limited. In UNWTO, a UN Environment Baseline Report published in 2019 is agree that the gap between tourist policies and what should be done is still considerable, despite the efforts of the national governments. These efforts are not enough, and we have to continue working hard. We all have to be involved. The consequences of climate change are many, from the rise in temperatures, the acidification of the oceans, the sea level rise, extreme atmospheric phenomena, fires, affecting sectors that are key to the tourism, such as transport, agriculture, and construction. It is also affecting tourist lifestyle. Tourism became the main engine of the paradigm shift. The private sector is very sensitive to sustainability since tourists demand it. We have the convinced that to be competitive, we have to be sustainable. Climate change is not longer a matter of only geophysics and ecology, but it has become a political and economic issue. Its impact can be felt anywhere. It's having a very real consequences of people's daily lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And of course, one of the main technologies and applications we have to try to address climate change is artificial intelligence, which is somehow, some people find that a little bit of a scary concept. We talk about robots and things like that, but actually there's a lot of good that can come from using artificial intelligence in a clever way to address this big global challenge. One country that is pioneering this is the UAE. So we would like to invite Ms. Fatma Boujasayem, Head of International Cooperation for the UAE Artificial Intelligence Office. Is she here? She's.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, or should I say good evening. Thank you for having me. To start with, I would like to point out that the Amazon rainforests are burning, and icebergs and ice sheets are melting. Sea levels are rising on a continuous basis, and climate change is happening whether we want to admit it or not. It is a universal responsibility for everyone to work together, from every individual, every country, and every sector. According to the WTO figure from 2016, transportation and tourism alone contributed to 5% of global emissions, And according to the World Economic Forum and data derived from the Nature Climate Change Journal, the tourism sector as a whole contributed to around 8% of global CO2 emissions. And this is in 2013. The emission is equivalent to 4.5 billion tons of CO2. It is expected to raise to an equivalent of 6.5 billion tons of CO2 by 2025. Now, this number is very alarming, and this increase is due to two main things: the usage of different modes of transportation in the tourism industry, be it planes, trains, and cars, and to the personal emission of tourists, whether it was the consumption of food, products, and of course, accommodation. So the question we ask ourselves is, how can we use artificial intelligence for a more sustainable tourism? Artificial intelligence that, unfortunately, a lot of people fear of losing jobs. This is the usual stereotype connected to this technology. However, it could also be used for the good of humanity. So we can use it, be it in energy-efficient transportation, to curating a more local experience for individuals when it comes to tourism. But I would like to point out two main themes, which is the energy and transportation within the tourism sector. AI can be used to predict electricity demand and ease the transfer to clean energy sources. Now, it's worth pointing out that the energy sector is a major contributor to CO2, of course, contributing to around 59% of global emissions. The tourism industry is heavily reliant on energy. For example, energy is highly consumed for hosting and accommodating masses of tourists. We can use AI to accurately predict where tourists are and the demand by using machine learning to analyze data that we gather from travel agencies, flight operators, and hotels, and then feeding this information back to energy suppliers to allow for a better integration of renewable resources to the grid. Secondly, in order to reduce the transportation emissions within the tourism industry, we can use AI to optimize transportation and logistics tasks by improving overall carbon footprint. AI-aided flight planning supported by accurate weather predictions can minimize unnecessary delays and detours that can lead to higher emissions, while sharing this information in real time across the aviation sector. In combating climate change, sectors must work hand in hand, be it the tourism sector along with the energy and aviation and transportation sectors and many others. And in order to create positive change and introduce a more sustainable tourism, policymakers need to be more based on evidence and data. AI and its tools can be used in the heart of the movement, aiding decision makers in laying an actionable set of policies and strategies. And change starts now, ladies and gentlemen. And in my humble opinion, change will undeniably be powered by artificial intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. After these speeches, which set us up quite well to get into a deeper discussion with a panel, I would like to invite up Dr. Dirk Gleiser, Director of Sustainable Development of Tourism at the UNWTO. And please, all the gentlemen who are on Dirk's panel, please come up and take your seats. This panel will discuss sustainability, climate change, and innovation, and how they can work together. And I'll let all the panelists take their seats, and Dirk will be able to introduce them and set up the discussion more properly. Thank you.
Courtney, thank you very much. May I ask the panelists to join me here on stage. I welcome Mr. Felix Eichhorn, President of AIDA Cruises, Mr. Adam Goldstein, Vice Chairman of Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, International Association's Chair, Mr. Jeff Engler, Chief Executive Officer of Wright Electric, Professor Kajpeš, Head of the Center of Agrometeorology and Professor of Climatology at the University of Ljubljanka, Slovenia, Mr. Fetisov, UNWTO Ambassador, and Mr. Jung Takashina, Vice Commissioner from the Japan Tourism Energy Agency, Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transportation and Tourism. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a long day, and it's a very serious issue we try to tackle. It is something we want to do interactive. We facilitate for you the possibility to ask us, the panel, here questions from the floor. You are using, ideally, Slido to do so. That way we can rate the questions and give answers to those which are the most pressing in the room. You heard before that innovation is providing us new ways of thinking, new ways of bringing ideas to the industry. At the same time, we have here the representatives of the industry innovating and connecting from their side, all with the same aim, to improve the sustainability. When I spoke to the panelists prior to our intervention here, I said our main objective is to wake you up, to allow you, the ministries of tourism, to see what the industry can facilitate, what the industry has available in this area, which is so dear to us, sustainability, and especially against the background of climate change. So against that, I will pass on the first question or statement already to Mr. Goldstein. On behalf of CLIA, what is the commitment of the sector, the cruise shipping sector, which in some of our countries currently is extremely exposed to a discussion of sustainability? What are the steps you plan? How do you have committed already, and what are the steps ahead you think you need to undertake?
So thank you very much, Dirk, and good afternoon, everybody. One of the most distinctive aspects of the cruise sector is that we live at the intersection of hospitality and maritime, each one remarkable on its own, but especially remarkable when they are together, as is the case in our industry. There are many aspects of sustainability that we can, and I hope that we will talk about, but in terms of demonstrating our commitment, I want to focus for the first part, at least, on greenhouse gas emissions and our response to the establishment of the International Maritime Organization's greenhouse gas emissions goals. And I should say that we must be leaders. We may be only 2% of international tourism, and we may be less than 1% of maritime, but we are so visible, and we take so many people on vacation, that we have to develop the skill sets and help find the breakthroughs that will allow us to reach or exceed the goals that are out there. So we became the first sector of maritime in the last year, after the goals were established, to state our commitment that we will meet the 2030 IMO goals, where all maritime companies and ships must be at least 40% more efficient in their use of energy in 2030 than 2008. Obviously, we're halfway through the period. We still have a lot more innovating to do to reach that goal by or before 2030, but we're confident that we will. Then there are the 2050 goals, to be 70% more efficient than in 2008, and also to cut the absolute amount of GHG emissions in half compared to the 2008 baseline in an industry that has been growing and expects to continue to grow. Nobody knows exactly how that will be accomplished today. Our commitment is to be a very active participant in the global research and development effort that will have to find breakthroughs in terms of things like synthetic LNG and other fuels, the use of fuel cells and hydrogen, and so forth. And ultimately, we have expressed our intention to facilitate the achievement of a carbon-free maritime sector by the end of the century. So again, I hope we can talk about other areas, but in this absolutely critical aspect that directly relates to climate change, our sector has no choice but to be leaders.
Thank you very much. And for the audience to know, Mr. Goldstein and Mr. Eichhorn both traveled especially for this panel here to St. Petersburg and left a very important trade fair in Hamburg just to make the statement at this very important time for the discussions of climate change and sustainability, and very, very grateful for having made that effort. Now, going on to the representative, the president of the AIDA Cruises, Mr. Eichhorn, what is it you think is feasible today, and what are the additional things you see already ahead? and also what is important for ministers of tourism to take into account when speaking to us about climate change and cruising.
First of all, thank you very much to invite us and speak on this great panel in front of all of you, because we are partnering all around the world where we send our guests to your great destinations. And we are very happy to have the opportunity today to speak to you, because finally it's a teamwork. We jointly have to develop further our steps in reducing our ecological footprints, but also on the other hand, developing further growth, both for employment in your destinations and also in GDP growth. As Adam Goldstein was saying already, cruising is just 30 million passengers out of 1.4 billion tourists worldwide, which is only 2%, but still one of the fastest growing tourism sectors. And we believe further growth will be only available or only possible with a clear commitment towards more sustainable tourism, and we take our real responsibility in that. As I was invited here to speak a bit of what a single cruise brand can do, I'm happy to talk a bit of what AIDA Cruises, as a German leading cruise line, has done over the last years, and also to offer to you to go on with me, but also with my colleagues from the other cruise lines, working on joint development of the ports in your destinations and working on how we can further enlarge our joint business relations. And I think we as cruise, as in all other industries, we really have the strong commitment to reduce our ecological footprint. And just to give you some examples how we do it in our organization. Number one, just 9 months ago, we've implemented the first cruise ship in the world which can run completely on liquefied natural gas, which is the cleanest fossil fuel which is currently available. It is reducing a lot of the local emissions nearly completely or to a great extent, and is reducing CO2 emissions by more than 20%. We've just been recognized by the German government for that new technology to get the Blue Angel, which is kind of an eco label given out by the government, which really shows, I think, the strong commitment we've been there. That was not easy. It was a more than 10 years development, and it has to, behind was changes in regulations worldwide by IMO, but also by Passenger Association, finding new regulations in every single port where we are going, in every single country where we are sailing with those ships. And therefore, sure, we need your support to bring that new technology, which is supporting all of us, into operation. Other elements we are doing, but also investments from other cruise lines are out there, shore power connections in our ports, which will give us the opportunity to shut down our engines while we are there and reduce the emissions. But on the other hand, we need your contribution to that as well, because we need something to connect to. Third element on our side, and that was just signed last week, so pretty news for us, is the biggest installation of a battery pack on board one of our vessels, which will give us the opportunity for a certain period of time really taking the ship completely, shutting down the engines and run on batteries. So it will be the largest battery installation in the complete maritime industry. And I think also showing here another opportunity how we bring innovation just inside the cruise industry, which roughly has 300 to 400 cruise ships in the world out of more than 50,000 commercial ships, how we as part of the tourism industry can innovate and can lead the complete maritime industry.
Thank you very much. And now we turn to the gentleman who's joining us on screen, Jeff Engler, developing electric aviation for EasyJet. Jeff, please, why do you think that EasyJet, or what were the reasons that EasyJet, a low-cost carrier, very often being named as one of the reasons why tourism demand and travel which is not sustainable is developing, why did a company focus on electric aviation?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. I wanted to share a brief presentation about what we've been working on. I think it's a great point what the gentleman on the audience in the panel said, and what we're thinking about is the next 10 or so years of air travel. Can I confirm that you guys can hear me okay? Okay. So the opportunity is low emissions and zero emissions air travel, and also ships as well. So what we're looking at is up to 40% lower emissions in our hybrid electric and fully electric airplanes. And in fact, actually ships that we're working on right now can be completely zero emissions. So the work of liquefied natural gas is absolutely the latest step for right now. And then this is looking for travel for, let's say, the next decade or so. On the air side, we've been working with airlines such as EasyJet and also Viva Aerobus in Latin America, airport infrastructure operators like JetX, and large multinational, multi-billion-dollar technology providers and aerospace and defense companies such as BAE Systems and a few others. So I think that the point is that the next generation of air travel is here. The next generation of ships are here. And the question is really, how do we go from technology readiness to actually making products that are on the market? And not surprisingly, capital is what's needed. Conservatively, when you look at everything from technology development to certification, all the way into building new facilities and for things like production, it's many billions of dollars of costs. And that's kind of the problem, but the opportunity is that if you look in the private equity markets, there's over $2 trillion of what's called dry powder. In other words, money that's been committed towards investment and new opportunities but that hasn't yet been spent. And so we see that as a major opportunity. And then I think the question is really how to engage that private capital to get people interested. And that leads me to the people in this room. As has already been discussed by another one of the panelists, numerous maritime organizations and other agencies around the world have looked to decrease their consumption of air fuel and also shipping emissions as well. And what that does, it sounds like a small thing, but what it does is it increases the incentives for the private equity markets to get inside this as a potential opportunity. And so what we're thinking is there might be people out there who want to increase their own green credentials by announcing, for example, a reduction in air travel or ship travel, let's say by let's say 2050. And in terms of what's needed, there's three general areas. Number one, legislation. Number two, governmental funding opportunities. For example, in the United States, there's organizations like DARPA and NASA that do funding, and other countries in the world have similar things. And then obviously getting the word out around marketing. We actually put together a report around this, so if anybody's interested, you can email me. This is going to sound a little bit cheesy, but what's really needed is the people in this audience to move the world forward and to allow technologies that are being developed to actually hit the market. And I guess at a high level, what I would say is together we have the opportunity to make the world much greener and more sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Engler. And it is interesting for the audience here also to know that there are other countries having made the commitment to electrify their aviation sector. And most prominently there, we have the commitment of the government of Norway by the year 2040 to have domestic aviation electrified. These are commitments which are in the end encouraging innovations to take place, capital to be released and facilitated. This possible framework, this ecosystem is necessary, and our discussion shall shed light on the different interests from the transportation sectors. But I turn now to Professor Kajpeš, and just additional piece of information. She was the vice chair of the IPCC when the IPCC, together with Al Gore, were winning the Nobel Peace Prize. That is an achievement, and from your perspective, when that happened, you started looking already at the tourism sector, and if you have then started looking at the tourism sector, are you satisfied with what has happened since then?
Yes, to be honest, regarding rhetorics, a lot has changed. So tourism is discussing climate change as a serious issue. But when we go look at the numbers, how the tourism as a business is expanding, so then I'm not so satisfied, because the idea of perpetual growth in tourism makes all efforts being more efficient, sort of it undermines these efforts. You were saying about your ships, that your ships will be much more efficient as a single ships. But how many new ships will be there? So this is the problem. And technology cannot keep up with the progress in tourism. And another thing I have found out is that usually you are decision makers sitting here, ministers, very high level people. Many of you probably underestimate climate change, how much it will hurt tourism sector. And a lot of people from policy making, they think it is an environmental issue. Like ministers for environment will deal with that, or climate negotiators. So I'm asking you, have you in your countries really established targets for tourism? You, from the tourism sector, we've heard about targets, because without numbers, we will get nowhere. Even you put it so nice, I don't know how to achieve these targets by the end of the century. But without targets, you are going blind, if I may say so. So I think that maybe some comments also, I was impressed by Norway's decision that they will go electric. But we are talking about small planes mostly. Don't be fooled that the big planes carrying 300 passengers will be electric so soon. And also, while my observation, I studied physics. I know a lot about life cycle analysis. And there is no zero emission electricity. Electric car is not a zero emission car, because you have to build it, you buy a new car, it has batteries, and half of the countries presented here, your electricity is still coal-based. Even in Denmark, for instance, it's not renewable in energy. Of course, Norway is an exception. So there are a lot of things that has to be discussed very honestly. And the word I really enjoyed to see today was at the speaker from artificial intelligence field. She put optimization, because if we are serious to change our habits and to save the planet, maximization, which is in your mind, I guess, at the moment, should be replaced by optimization. So this is my observation so far. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And can I ask the organizers, please, to put up the Slido slides so that we can see the questions which are popping up, and encourage you to vote so that we are addressing the questions you have. While we are doing so, I turn to Mr. Fetisov. This morning when I joined here another conference where the tourism sector in Russia was discussing the sustainability agenda, your name popped up all the time. So you must impress in such a way that even when you are not in the room, people are quoting you. Why is that happening in the tourism sector? What is your formula of success to have such a significant impact on the discussion of sustainability here in Russia?
First of all, thanks Secretary General for the excellent job so far, and the team of the UNWTO. It's very interesting discussion, and very promising and practical for the future of the tourism. And of course, it's for us, it's one of the biggest country in the world right now, and our biggest treasure, it's our environmental and eco future. And of course, we need to be up to date to realize, all this new technology, all this new comfort of the lives. It's maybe it's already too much. You have to kind of balance to find in a proper way. And of course, for me as a ambassador for the UNWTO, also I'm an ambassador for the Arctic and Antarctic, and
yeah, it's very common things to talk about how the tourism as an industry can help for the environmental challenge right now. And of course, I got prepared some speech, and if you can let me, I can speak in my native language. Can I? So can I do it? Yeah, please. Yeah. Еще раз спасибо. Я надеюсь, всем гостям нашим нравится пребывание в Санкт-Петербурге. Ну и я буду встречать вас в Москве, тех, кто согласился. Я думаю, что вы тоже порадуетесь за то, что происходит и в нашей столице в отношении туризма и все, что связано с современным развитием города. В настоящее время туризм является одной из самых быстро растущих отраслей в мире. И в качестве посла туризма и посла ООН по Арктике и Антарктике хотел бы обратить ваше внимание на роль, которую эта отрасль может и должна играть в защите окружающей среды на нашей планете. Мы разделяем эту планету с 9 миллионами видов растений и животных и более чем 1 триллионом видов микробов. Наукой описаны менее 2 миллионов из них. Если мы до конца не знаем, кто они, мы еще меньше знаем о том, что они делают. Но мы знаем, что без них не было бы нас. Кислород, которым мы дышим, чистая вода, которую мы пьем, пища, которую мы едим, зависит от других форм жизни. Природа бесплатно производит все это, что нам нужно. В мае этого года Организация Объединенных Наций опубликовала доклад о том, что около миллиона видов животных и растений находятся под угрозой исчезновения. Причем во многих из них срок идет на десятилетия. Мы превращаемся в астероид, который убил динозавров и полностью изменил нашу планету. Мы превратили половину обитаемой части нашей планеты в производство продуктов питания и заменили диких животных на домашних. Сегодня 96% массы млекопитающих – это мы и наш домашний скот. Только 4% – это все остальное, от слонов до тигров и панд. В океане около 90% крупных рыб, это от акул до тунца и трески, за последние 100 лет фактически полностью исчезают. 93% рыбных запасов эксплуатируются максимально, чрезмерно эксплуатируются и уже практически уничтожены. Something wrong? No, it's okay.
No, it's fine. It's just not
No, not too much. Okay. Something misunderstanding. Туризм, возможно, является наиболее важной экономической силой, поддерживающей сохранение нашей планеты. Ничто другое не принесет сопоставимого эффекта. Минимум один парк существует в каждой стране, и люди туда с удовольствием ходят. Устойчивый туризм, связанный с сохранением биоразнообразия, может быть беспроигрышным. Существуют готовые решения, проверенные по всему миру, для значительного увеличения доходов от туризма в парках с инновационным продуктом. То есть мы говорим о том, что туризм сегодня может помочь при правильном использовании отношения к природе, как раз помочь, принося деньги для того, чтобы это все держать в соответствии с экологическими стандартами. Ну, тема Арктики, она тоже очень важна. Я думаю, что в ближайшее время это будет одним из главных тем, и в том числе мирового туризма, но надо очень внимательно и бережно относиться к тому, что на самом деле будет происходить с туризмом в Арктике. Так, буду короток. Да, но есть примеры бережного отношения, да, это национальный парк в Руанде. Мы все знаем, что это является домом для некоторых из последних горных горилл на нашей планете, а также является одним из самых успешных экотуристских маршрутов. Именно из-за хорошо организованного экотуризма сегодня в Руанде возможно в общем, содержание и развитие этого удивительного животного. Ну, нам необходимо больше территорий охраняемых, мы обязаны в ближайшее время до 50% всех территорий нашей планеты, в общем, превратить в охраняемые зоны, ну и это связано с Мировым океаном тоже. Так что мы считаем, что туризм при всей ее затратной части может быть хорошим стимулом для того, чтобы попробовать сохранить планету для будущих поколений, для развития туризма. Спасибо. А то, что касается Российской Федерации, то мы еще раз понимаем, что туризм, экотуризм, это то, что мы хотим сегодня внедрить как стандарт, будет серьезным инструментом для того, чтобы найти средства на огромной территории, в общем, держать экологическую систему в порядке. Так что да, будем взаимодействовать и с туризмом, и с экологическими организациями в нашей стране.
Thank you, Mr. Fetisov, for this statement. How are you winning the hearts?
I'm a hockey player. You know, it's a very rough, tough sport, but I know it's so many ladies, they love the hockey, they follow the games, and you know, you have to be working hard, play every possible shift you on ice, and do your job for 100%. Again, you know, it's I know you try to figure out formula of success from me, but again, you know, it's 73 titles as a hockey player. I know how we can work together as a team, and I think we should build, you know, it's a very strong team right now to face and challenge all these necessary problems. And of course, again, it's you have to be consistent. You have to know what's the sustainable development of the everything supposed to be as a system, not as a one direction. And of course, you have to see the big picture before you know it's going to fix the biggest problems. You know,
You played really well, because right now I have the right question from our colleague from Deloitte. Ivan, big picture, and you must be a character who can fight. That were the two ingredients he was just giving us to lead the sustainability discussion. Is that what you see in the world of enterprises as well, being the top ingredients?
Thank you very much, Dr. Glasser, for your question. What we see as a professional services firm is we tend to see everything as a project. And where the most successful projects come are the ones where we work together with a big list of collaborators. So we form consortiums, effective partnerships, and when we tackle, you know, the problems together. And what we tend to see from our market research as well is that the innovation, it very closely follows the sustainability concept as well. And where we see the biggest results is when the multiple industrial players actually come together and work together to, you know, achieve a more sustainable future. So, for example, in the hotel industry, there's many examples where construction progress and technology and innovation is creating, you know, carbon-neutral hotel buildings, effectively. And I think this is, from our perspective as a professional services firm, is where we really need to look into, is in terms of SDG 17, where, you know, in true partnerships, real innovation examples and good consortiums will come together to help you, you know, tackle the big and well-known problems we have.
Interesting. The partnership role and the importance of innovation will be highlighted by the next T20 meeting taking place in Japan. Mr. Takashina, what is it a state and national administration, especially responsible for tourism, needs to do to facilitate that and these framework conditions enabling sustainability?
Yes, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to briefly explain the recent situation in Japan on tourism and innovation. So tourism is one of the main pillars of Japan's growth strategy amidst a falling birth rate and an aging and declining population. And we are working to achieve the target of 40 million annual international visitors by 2020 and 60 million by 2030. Achieving these targets are very important for us, but at the same time, we need to make a shift towards a more sustainable tourism and to maximize contribution to the SDGs. And we believe innovation in digital transformation play a key role. Innovation may give the solution to the challenges such as addressing climate change or saving energy consumption. So let me touch upon recent examples in Japan. As for the electric propulsion vessels, a passenger ship powered by only electricity was completed for the first time in Japan in June this year, and it is appreciated in its quiet navigation by those who came on board. Concerning electric aircraft, Japan made a roadmap to start the electric aircraft business in 2023, and we will promote necessary measures such as fixing standards for aircraft safety and skill certification, and setting up takeoff and or landing places to achieve the roadmap. Digital technology also is expected to bring about new sustainable tourism solutions, such as more effective monitoring of tourist inflow and multilingual communication support. In Japan, in order to solve various social challenges through digital technology, the government created the strategy in 2017 for the utilization of public and private data. Within this strategy, tourism is positioned as one of 8 priority areas and is the basis for developments such as open data on tourism, the construction of smart cities, and automatic driving technology. In addition, Japan plans to promote the introduction and popularization of services known as tourism MaaS, mobility as a service, that enable the searching of the routes to destinations and the payment of multiple tickets all at once. So finally, let me briefly introduce G20. So this year, Japan is the G20 chair country, and we will host G20 Tourism Ministers meeting on October 25th and 26th in Kuchan, Hokkaido, Japan. We set the theme of the meeting as making a shift towards a more sustainable tourism and maximizing its contribution to the SDGs. And one of the discussion topics is the role of innovation and digital transformation in the advancement of sustainable tourism. And ministers will discuss the topic with the participation of private companies. One example is that East Japan Railway Company, one of the largest railway companies in Japan, will introduce public-private partnership on MaaS as an example of improving transportation, including tourists. In addition, take advantage of this opportunity. Japan is going to organize ICT showcase in tourism, which will demonstrate the potential of ICT technologies, contribution to the tourism sector, such as using drone and balloon with GPS technology for rescue in snow resort. We also held G20 Tourism Innovation Pitch Contest with the aim of creating innovation in tourism and realizing the sustainable tourism. The contest has 108 entries from 20 countries around the world, and the final selection board will be held on October 1st. And the 3 finalists will present at the G20 Tourism Ministers meeting. In addition, one private company which has been interested in innovation field will organize a matching event between existing tourism companies and 20 startup companies who will be on the final selection on the pitch contest. So I would like to show the outcome, share the outcome of these meetings and events with you, and we hope that through these activities, we are able to continue to promote innovations in its tourism industry. Thank you.
Mr. Takashina, thank you very much. We have the industry here on this panel, and the industry can challenge us. Mr. Goldstein, When you went out there and worked and partnered with GSTC and WWF, you made specific experiences. I think it would be interesting for the audience to listen to those experiences.
Thank you. Yes, I would like to offer something for all of your consideration that could apply in all of the 158 countries that I believe are represented here. Something that we as a company pioneered through our relationship with WWF in 2016. And as Dirk mentioned, we worked with the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, GSTC, to identify that there was an opportunity for the tour operators who operate the shore excursion programs that we run on our various ports. And the cruise industry calls on somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 ports, so it's a huge opportunity, to become certified as sustainable tour operators. I believe there were no certified sustainable tour operators prior to this effort. We set a goal for 2020 by the end of next year to have 1,000 of our shore excursions delivered by tour operators certified as using sustainable practices. And at the beginning, they said all the things that you would expect these entities to say. They said, this is going to be very difficult. This is going to raise our costs. This is a very hard business. We don't know if we can layer on this additional burden. And our response to that, generally speaking, was, this is the direction that we're going in as a company. And if you want to take our customers on shore excursions, we suggest that you learn how to apply the techniques from GSTC that will gain you the certification. So as I said, our goal was 1,000 shore excursions delivered by certified tour operators by the end of next year. So here we are in September of 2019, and we're already at 1,300, 300 ahead of the goal that we set for next year. Once the tour operators got going down this path and saw that it made for a better business model for them, saw that they could claim that as a distinctive advantage sometimes in the various destinations that we visited, and saw that while we may have been the only cruise line that initially required this of them, the next day maybe another cruise line ship was coming to the port, and they weren't going to go back to being a non-sustainable tour operator just because we were the only ones who asked them to be that way. They couldn't operate different models. They had now become practitioners of certified sustainable tour operator behaviors. That could happen in every one of your countries. And further than that, as some of you, of course, know, GSTC also has a methodology for certifying the entire destination or pieces of the destination as sustainable, completely available to every country in this room. And we certainly look forward, not only as a company, but as an industry, to partnering with those destinations that we visit to help your tour operators and your destinations along that path.
Thank you very much, and I encourage the audience. We have many questions here, but the voting as such leaves them very close to vote for which of those questions are the ones you want to be raised here during the panel. I just want to pass on the next one to Mr. Eichhorn and Mr. Engler. What will be the tourism demand you are expecting for your products be? Is this something only you see, or is this as a niche element, or is that as a mega trend while you are adapting your products?
I think what we've seen over the years when cruising was developing, and still we are pretty small with the 2% as said already before, perhaps we're going to go to 3%, which will be a big development. But I think what for sure is key to that is the sustainable development of our industry. And you've made reference that, yes, we have existing ships. So we are not just talking about new builds and what we can do on the new builds, but also what we can do on the existing fleet, because some of our ships operate for 30 years. So those ships will go into service next year. We'll be still there in 2050, where our joint goal is halving the carbon emissions. I think that will be more demanding from our passengers, and we are working pretty closely with the yachts, technical suppliers, but also the destinations to really make sure that we are all committed to those goals.
And I can add quickly from a technology perspective, Thank you for the question. We are seeing a large movement towards sustainable air travel. For example, the Fleischgasm flight shame movement that started in Sweden. From a consumer perspective, there's a lot of demand for reducing emissions across the spectrum, and especially with leisure travel. So we like to think that we're serving primarily travelers first, and then that feeds into the airlines and into the shipping operators. So we think the demand does come from consumers, and we're looking to meet that demand with lower emissions forms of air and sea travel.
Thank you very much. Professor Kuip.
My comment, it is exactly what I was also wanting to say, that innovation, in many times people just use technological innovations, but what tourism now is actually social innovation. So the business models that change the approach of people to the tourism, because in many ways I've seen that with this, with the younger generation, I will not speak so much about older tourism, that tourism has gone the wrong way. I mean, it's much more about vanity, it's much about partying somewhere. Young tourists actually don't get what the tourism should be. I guess that because social innovation did not work on that field, and I really thank you for that experience, because it's not technology, it's about people, about behavior. And you were talking about education in the previous panels. Who is educating tourists? This is the question. The tourist industry should make them as human beings more sustainable, then that they will demand sustainable products. So we are in a loop here. And I guess it's high time that we address such issues, not just technology, because technology cannot save the world.
Can I just ask the question to any member of the panel who feels comfortable? It's, what can we, the tourism sector, do about climate change? I think we discussed it here in general terms, but is there somebody who wants to dare give advice? Yeah.
If I may, I want to start with the fact that our reality and the reality of the world is that there is a virtually inexhaustible desire of people to see the world. When we talk about growth of tourism, and we consider the generation of wealth and income that is emerging from many of the countries represented in this room, who for the first time or in recent years, it has emerged that your citizens have the wherewithal to see the world, you know that they have the desire to do it. This is our reality. We're 10% of world GDP today, and we're very likely to continue growing at a faster rate than world economic growth. So the imperative of us to come up with breakthrough capabilities is essential. The role that we play in the world economy is so significant already at this point that when you think about the IPCC thinking and targets and mentality, we simply have to play a meaningful role. There's no alternative. As you mentioned, as the professor just mentioned, technology cannot do this by itself. It is a set of enabling tools, and it's incredibly exciting that startups and larger companies are innovating and using and developing technologies at a rapid rate that we've never seen before. But the commitment of the people, the governments and the private sector actors, has to come now to the fore. Just using our industry as an example, as I did say before, we don't today know exactly how we will meet the 2050 goals. Not only that, but because, as Felix mentioned, these ships have 30-year lives, so that ships that are coming in now will only be partway through their life or towards the end of their life as the 2050 goals come along. By 2035, really meaningfully different things have to have happened in the fleet in order to average or achieve what needs to be achieved in 2050. We can't wait till 2049 to do what needs to be done. We have to find out through new science, new technology, and new behaviors of people how to get there faster.
And I just want to add one point alongside that. From a technology perspective, we see the opportunity is there to meet those goals and to get to zero emissions, for example, shipping around the world. You guys are the leaders that help to bring that to the forefront and help make it a priority. So we can be doing the technology, the shipping operators can be supporting it, and it's the people in this room that will act as the leaders that actually move everything forward.
Thank you, Mr. Engler, and I turn now to the Secretary General who wanted to address us.
Very quick comment because all day we're working. First of all, I want to welcome our high-level guests and want to enjoy the idea of Mr. Goldstein, Mr. Adam. Why? Because this is the first time we are together sitting at our event when we have representatives and one of the most important representatives from the seaside. And we need to use this opportunity, and we don't have time to wait. So let's use and let's give this kind of recognition. The ports, cruise business is maybe more than 20% of whole travel all around the world, and we have excellent representatives. We have Ms. Luchka, who has excellent experience in meteorology, and this is huge thing for us. Our ambassador Fetisov, just to forget everything, he is 7 times champion of the world in hockey and 2 times Olympic Games. Takashina-san, from very active and interesting and experienced country like Japan is. Japan had unfortunately had a lot of natural disasters, but no one knows better how to solve and how to act in that hard times, and this is another chance to have on the board. We have representatives from air, like EasyJet. I mean, we have sea, our distinguished guest. So, and we have sea, land, and air, and we have excellent opportunity to act. We have excellent opportunity to plan how to forward, and it was really interesting discussion, I think, and many thanks. But back to Adam's initiative, we are glad to hear it, and we are glad, and you know that count on our full support. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
and Mr. Dirk, who is our director for sustainable development and very experienced gentleman, by the way. And we need, that's why I mentioned before, we need to use this asset, you know. This is asset which is not easy to have on the same stage with, of course, our member states. You could not find this kind of communication, and this is what I want to use with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Secretary General, for your kind words and the comments. And I think that the element you all pointed to that there's knowledge, there are pockets of knowledge, there's the political agenda, and right now the tourism sector needs to understand that better. And I turn again to Mr. Fetisov and then later on to Ivan to ask these questions. What are these crucial factors to help us right now to come together, as the Secretary General said, not only on stage, but then later on to train? The really hard time before we get to become a champion, we have to train. Yeah. We have to sort out the issues. And what, from your experience looking at the tourism sector right now, would be that accelerator we need? What components of innovation do we need in there? What components of finances do we need? Mr. Goldstein mentioned before that it is very often then the support, the backing from the established companies helping to finance over their prioritized projects. Your experience, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it's tourism right now, sport and ecology. It's 3 instruments, I would put this way, and it's can unite the people on the planet. We got the biggest challenge right now, this related to ecology. And of course, the traveling is also cost lots of pollution and all this necessary disturbance for the mother nature. And of course, we need to use new technology. You have to be educated, like you said before, especially kids. It's lots of work. It's schools, it's family, it's TV, internet, it's ambassadors who get his experience. And I traveled since I was 14 years old. It's by the way, by those times in Soviet Union only was one flight per week to one country in Europe or United States. And of course, this was caused more or less disturbance for the ecology. Now we have to find a new solution. You have to educate the people again. And of course, the Arctic, I know Norwegians also worry about what's going on in the Arctic and Antarctica. This is the two more attracting destination for the tourism also. But you need to be very careful to use traveling to not to bring the damage for the environment. And of course, it's but to use the tourism, you have to get those money. You need the big money, by the way, to fix it what was damaged already. And of course, it's political disturbances. Well, everything what's going on right now is misunderstanding in different parts. But yeah, we should travel. We should see the different country. We can interact in conferences like that. We can go and see the football matches and hockey games. And of course, it's we educated, we know each other better. But again, what I see right now, it's when youngsters, they realizing the planet right now and the dangers. And for them, it's for their children, it's going to be not easy to fix it everything. You have to think a little bit ahead of the time right now to bring the new technology, new standards, of even for the traveling. And I think it's big work ahead, and especially for Russian Federation. It's tourism slowly becoming, it's a big industry here. We got biggest territory in the world. We got national parks, which is so beautiful, and of course we need to invite also, tourists from the outside to see my country, and and be very careful when we interact with the Mother Nature. Of course, it's a big work ahead, and of course, it's sport, again, tourism and ecology. This is the three things can unite us. And again, without not building the team, you understand what's the major challenge. We're not going to fix it everything. I mean, it's one country like United States or like Norway or Japan, which is look ahead of everybody for the eco standards, but the problems with the ecology can develop somewhere else in a different part of the planet. And of course, we need the same standard for everybody. And of course, many countries don't have enough money to fix it, what's going on is ecology, but we need to get the sources to help them from outside. Again, I travel a lot lately, and it's a problem in Africa, no rain, problem in even in Finland. It's the climate gets warmer, and it's and change the life of the people. It's the animals dying, and of course, it's to get there, to see what's going on, to pay you money, and to get this money to fix it problem. Probably it's also it's a solution, but we need to be very careful with what we're doing right now. And of course, it's build the team, and we probably have a team here in St. Petersburg to understand this is the biggest challenge for us, ecology, and of course, tourism have to be a little bit refocused on a new way of the development of traveling, I think.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fetisov. I think there is time for a maximum of 2 more questions. I just went through the list to see which of those questions were answered already, and I put one to the panel. Why can't the tourism sector use its massive economic power to force more rapid climate change progress, climate progress? That was you asking the question. Do we have an answer for that?
Maybe part of the answer is what I said before, that usually when you come to climate change negotiations, there are people there from environmental sectors. I've never seen negotiated about climate change goals coming from tourist sector. So I think the tourist sector is itself in many countries was not interested enough to join these COPs, for instance. They were always people, also in IPCC, I remember coming from tourism as observers. They never really felt a part of it, and that's maybe part of the answer. But when I have my last word, maybe just say another thing. Today we only talked about mitigation of climate change. But before you is another huge challenge, is how to adapt tourism to new climate. Your ports will not be the same. Ski resorts will not be the same. Lakes will not be the same. Arctic is not the same. So how to change the tourism on that spots where no longer they could provide the old tourism? What is the new tourism? The optimized new tourism. So it's a double challenge, because even if we stop our emissions now, climate change is here to stay. So I really urge you to make programs also in that direction. But business can help, because your business is again heavily involved in adaptation. So please do not talk just about emission, but what to do with people who are vulnerable, already vulnerable to climate change. To end, and there are a lot of combination where you can do adaptation and mitigation with the same measures. So the smart ones kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
And now I have the final question. I don't know who wants to take that one. Are we prepared to discuss with Greta?
Discuss about plastic?
No.
May I start?
Yes.
No, that's good follow. I think what Greta really helps is to making everybody aware, every industry making aware that we have to change. And I think that is something we should be all grateful to, that movement all around the world, exactly as you said, that every single sector, every single industry. Okay, she's not that all familiar in all parts of the world yet, but at least in Europe pretty much. And I think
she will be more than welcome if
Absolutely.
she wants, and we can discuss with her.
So I think what is important, what we've discussed before, that every single sector understands that he has his role in reducing our emissions. And exactly as the professor said, everybody has to start in his own garden, so to say, and developing that. And I think for that it's pretty helpful. I think what's necessary now to talk on actions and to talk on facts, and then find real solutions in every single business, in every single destination, and in every single owns behavior as well of every single person on the planet.
Well, my question to are we prepared, my answer, are we prepared to discuss with Greta, would be actually rephrasing that question. Are we prepared to discuss with young people who will carry the burden of climate change, we cost? Because there is intergenerational unfairness here. So Greta actually represents young people around the world who are not to blame for climate change. How shall we face them in 20 years if we don't do the action now?
Yeah, we all should prepare to discuss with Greta. I think it's in my duties right now, also as the ambassador of the climate, I talked to lots of different places, you know, it's in different countries with the youngsters, and very much aware about the climate situation right now. And of course, Greta, did a good job, and I think it's everybody on the planet have to think about what we're doing. Start from yourself. You know, it's think a little bit more ahead of the not comfort of your life, but think about you know what's kind of problem it's discomfort can bring for the future. Of course, we need some time to stabilize the situation, maybe to pay more attention to protect the very important ecosystem right now to stabilize situation. And yeah, it's the kids like Greta, they show us example how they care about our planet, how they care about the environment, how they want to build the team from kids around the world, you know, to bring the awareness, to bring the message, send the message, I mean, to the big business, to the governments, to the societies, and of course, to talk about the climate situation, you need huge money right now. Maybe you have to think a little bit more about this in different stages, but again, it's in New York in a couple of weeks, it's going to be a big discussion in the UN platform about the climate and future development of our planet. Many places in a big danger right now, and they need the understanding, and it's of course it's very important to see how the kids are reacting on what's going on. And I think we all again supposed to be ready to discuss with Greta about what she worries right now, what she wants from us to do for the future.
I find it slightly awkward to refer to somebody by her first name when I don't actually know her personally. But I would say in our sector, on the maritime side, we are quite used to the European Union speaking with a powerful voice within the International Maritime Organization. And there's no question that the IMO has been responsive to the pressure from the EU over these last years, certainly before the new EU government that's taking shape now. I want to come back to the Secretary General's comments, because I think the opportunity here strategically is how is this UN-WTO forum going to be used in a more effective way, not only to converse and understand where the EU wants to go, because there's more to the world here than just the European Union, but to bring those powerful regional voices somehow into this environment to use the assets exactly as the Secretary General said, and make this a really compelling forum for how 10% of the world's economy is going to address the pressures of climate change.
Thank you very much. And I think if I may add to that, what we presented here 2 days ago to the Committee of Tourism and Sustainability, the first insights, the facts. Facts are fundamental in this discussion. And producing the evidence was taking the organization. It was the top priority for our organization to produce and update the climate figures for the tourism sector, the transportation component, which brings this discussion to an objective level and takes the emotions out. That is a fundamental element in any progress, bringing the parties together to the table to discuss the priorities, what was said before, and then to properly invest and support the initiatives. I thank my dear panelists very much for this discussion. It's a wide range of representation here from the tourism sector and from those who are having heavy experience in the field of sustainability. And I wish that the audience is giving a hand of applause to the panelists who have been here answering questions and trying to give a way forward to this discussion. Thank you very much.
For that excellent panel. And now we are going to hear from the president and founder of a company that is actually helping tourists around the world get back to nature. So I'd like to invite up Mr. Philippe Basson from Hootopia.
Bonjour à tous. Je voudrais dire à Avant tout, un grand merci au secrétaire général de l'OMT, à Madame la Présidente, ainsi qu'à Mesdames et Messieurs les ministres, pour nous donner l'occasion de présenter Utopia, ainsi qu'aux membres affiliés dont je fais partie. Nous allons essayer de regarder un film sur quelques-uns de nos glampings dans un premier temps. Pourquoi le projet Utopia est né? Il y a 20 ans, nous avons créé Utopia avec un triple constat. Partout dans le monde, nous vivons de plus en plus dans des grandes villes. Nous sommes coupés de la nature. La digitalisation a accentué ce mouvement. Nos enfants ne jouent plus dehors aujourd'hui. Partout dans le monde, nos gouvernements, de plus en plus conscients des enjeux environnementaux, comme le voir, protègent des espaces naturels qui viennent des réserves, des parcs nationaux. Partout dans le monde, l'homme a besoin de retrouver la nature, de mettre les pieds dans l'herbe, de sentir l'odeur de la forêt. D'un côté, le citadin veut donc profiter de ces beaux espaces naturels protégés, et puis de l'autre côté, les locaux veulent développer le tourisme pour continuer tout simplement à vivre chez eux. Mais des contraintes légitimes empêchent de plus en plus de développer des infrastructures touristiques lourdes dans ces milieux naturels. Qui sommes-nous? Qui est Utopia? Utopia est une entreprise française qui est née à Lyon, que j'ai créée avec mon épouse, que je salue, non seulement sur la base des constats que nous venons de voir, mais aussi pour réaliser un rêve, ou plutôt poursuivre une utopie. L'utopie de vacances dans la nature, à la fois confortable et respectueuse de l'environnement, où les gens pourraient se rencontrer. Ce sont des convictions personnelles fortes, bien éloignées d'une écologie radicale, qui ont donné naissance au projet quasi militant d'Utopia. Nous voulons montrer que l'homme s'enrichit tant au contact de la nature, dont il fait partie intégrante, que des différences de l'autre. Alors, l'esprit finalement du camping, son lien avec la nature, la légèreté et la réversibilité de ces hébergements, les liens qu'on tisse quand on campe, se satisfaire finalement de l'essentiel, nous ont semblé comme la meilleure base pour réinventer un camping qui est devenu glamping. Un premier camping dans les Alpes en 2000, aujourd'hui 60 glampings dans un monde sur 3 continents, en Europe depuis 20 ans avec un siège à Lyon, en Amérique du Nord depuis 10 ans avec un siège à Montréal et en Chine depuis 5 ans avec un siège à Shanghai. Cette année, nous aurons accueilli 2 millions de nuitées clients dans nos 60 sites, qui comptent environ 40 000 lits. Que ce soit dans des villages forestiers, dans nos campings nature ou dans des city camps. Alors, que faisons-nous chez Equipia? Depuis notre création, on a eu cesse d'innover pour poursuivre notre mission. Tout d'abord, identifier de beaux sites naturels. Ensuite, implanter des campings en valorisant la nature et la culture des lieux. Et enfin, inviter une clientèle familiale, citadine, à déconnecter du quotidien pour se reconnecter avec la nature dans le respect et la découverte de l'environnement. Et tout ceci en permettant la valorisation des territoires locaux à travers l'écotourisme. Nous avons intégré chez Utopia beaucoup de métiers pour faire ceci. Nous designons nos sites et nos hébergements, nous opérons nos sites, nous les commercialisons sous la marque Utopia auprès d'une clientèle à la fois locale et internationale. 95% de nos clients viennent en direct. Nous développons une clientèle qui est quasi militante, qui se reconnaît dans les valeurs portées par la marque Utopia et le type de vacances proposées. Ceci nous permet à nos clients, l'espace de quelques jours, d'expérimenter une autre façon de vivre, plus simple, plus proche de la nature. Alors, comment développons-nous aujourd'hui le réseau Utopia? En France, nous avons commencé par un partenariat avec l'Office national des forêts. Au Canada, nous sommes implantés il y a 10 ans grâce à une entente avec les parcs nationaux au Québec. Aux Pays-Bas, nous venons de signer un accord avec les parcs nationaux, un très beau projet dans le parc national Newlander. En Argentine, nous travaillons depuis près de 2 ans avec le gouvernement pour développer un réseau de sites Utopia dans les parcs nationaux et des réserves naturelles. J'en profite pour saluer ici l'exceptionnel ministre du Tourisme, Gustavo Santos, qui a compris l'énorme potentiel de l'écotourisme en Argentine. Utopia compte bien aider à ce développement dans les prochaines années. Aux États-Unis, nous avons plutôt procédé par le rachat de terres privées, toujours dans des sites naturels exceptionnels, parfois au sein ou juste à côté des parcs nationaux ou des forêts nationales, comme dernièrement dans les Adirondacks ou en forêt de Los Angeles. Nos projets à l'international partent souvent d'un contact simple avec un gouvernement central ou un gouvernement régional qui souhaite développer l'écotourisme. Aujourd'hui, nous avons des projets au Japon, au Maroc, en lien avec le fonds souverain ITMAR, autour de la mer Noire, en Bulgarie ou en Géorgie, et j'espère bientôt dans cette région en Grèce. Alors, Utopia a 20 ans, tout juste l'âge adulte. Après nous être implantés sur des grands marchés émetteurs comme l'Europe, l'Amérique du Nord ou la Chine, 2020 sera l'année d'une accélération à l'international pour Utopia. Nous sommes en train de renforcer nos équipes en ce sens. Pour finir, je voudrais spécialement remercier l'OMT et son secrétaire général, mon ami Zourab Pololikashvili, pour nous présenter tant de beaux projets à travers le monde. Ce que vous faites est formidable. Merci à tous, merci de votre attention.
Merci Philippe. I want to use this opportunity because once we met with Philippe and I saw this project and we are talking a lot about sustainability, and I visited during my mandate many national parks everywhere in every region. I think this is the opportunity we need to use together, and this is the excellent project, excellent know-how, how to create a sustainable and very fast way opportunities to, again, to create new jobs. Of course, it's business, but to create jobs is the main objective for all of us. We have millions of natural parks, fantastic places, and we are not touching anything. We know you. And so let's use this opportunity. I'm sure that you will find many ministers, and I talk with many of them all around the world who are interested. I have one of them next to me, Zarina, expressed immediately interest to do it in Russia. So, thank you.
Thank you to you.
Yes, thank you so much, and welcome to Russia, and I hope that we'll get acquainted a little bit more closer, because at the moment we're in Russia very much interested. We're very much interested. Hello, nice to meet you. I just wanted to say that I've just signed document between several companies that are in charge of glampings also in Russia. So we're very much interested in glampings and ecotourism. So it's my honor and pleasure just to welcome you here in St. Petersburg. And I hope that we'll just have some interesting projects together. Thank you.
Thank you. There are indeed very many beautiful natural areas here in our host country of Russia that can be explored in this way, so much potential there. Now we come to the closing ceremony. We thank you for your patience. We know it was quite a long session and a lot to get through, but hopefully you'll take away many inspiring ideas and also see some tangible work that's going on to promote innovation that helps sustainable tourism. So to provide some words in closing, I would like to invite, you already hear from the head of the Federal Agency for Tourism of the Russian Federation, our hostess for this event, Ms. Zarina Doguzova. I will invite her to come and say some words to you now. And she will be followed by Secretary General to officially close.
Всем добрый вечер. Для меня, честно скажу, немного неожиданность, что мне нужно такое слово сказать, что называется подводящие итоги. День, на самом деле, честно могу сказать, это в профессиональном плане одни из самых интересных дискуссий прошли сегодня. Причем вот эти обе темы, которые утренняя у нас была, технологии в туризме, и образование в туризме, и вот та сессия, которая прошла сейчас, они на самом деле одна из другой вытекают. И я честно скажу, вот все, что мы сегодня продискутировали, все, что мы сегодня обсудили, реально очень и очень для нас интересные темы. Я практически в режиме онлайн своим коллегам отправляла фотографии, писала идеи, что нам нужно проанализировать, обсудить. И вот все, что вот эти все обсуждения, которые сегодня прошли, я думаю, что нам всем вместе предстоит еще проанализировать вот те все идеи, которые сегодня прозвучали, те новые инициативы, о которых мы сегодня узнали. И чего лично мне бы больше хотелось, это чтобы помимо идей и таких интересных дискуссий, вот результатом вот этого сегодняшнего дня стали бы какие-то такие практические результаты, которые бы пошли на благо развитию туризма во многих странах. Вот я лично для себя сегодня совершенно четко увидела какие-то направления работы. Я уже там неоднократно говорила, что Россия перезапускает туризм с учетом самых современных тенденций и в части цифровизации, платформизации туризма. У нас есть очень четкие конкретные планы и в части создания единой туристической платформы, на которой можно было бы получить любые виды туристических услуг. И мы над этим сейчас будем в ближайший год работать. Такую платформу мы хотим совместить с возможностью получения электронной визы, чтобы турист, оформляя электронную визу, мог сразу же получить максимальное количество информации о стране, приобрести любые услуги, которые могли бы быть им востребованы. На самом деле тема инноваций, цифровизации, из которой вытекает логичная тема устойчивого развития, она такая необъятная. И на самом деле она сложная очень. И нам, наверное, предстоит еще неоднократно ее обсуждать, анализировать. Но я могу сказать одно, что вот вместе с вами, эксперты, власти туристические, мы сила. И я думаю, что нам нужно чаще находить возможности для такого доверительного диалога, для такого доверительного общения. И мне бы хотелось еще раз поблагодарить Всемирную туристскую организацию в лице генерального секретаря, потому что это его огромная заслуга, что сегодня мы с вами так много говорим об инновациях, об устойчивом развитии, о цифровизации. И наш сегодняшний день начался с дискуссии о том, как сделать так, чтобы инновации и все передовые технологии в мире шли на благо обществу, людям и туризму. И, наверное, вот эти проекты, которые мы сейчас сегодня услышали, о которых мы сегодня узнали, это и цифровые платформы, которые планирует Всемирная туристская организация запускать, это и есть пример той самой попытки новые технологии, передовые технологии, информатизацию, цифровизацию, платформизацию поставить, сделать так, чтобы все это служило на благо людям и туристической отрасли. Россия готова участвовать во всех подобных инициативах, готова быть в таком фарватере развития туризма. И, собственно, Зураб, можете на нас рассчитывать во всем. И я уверена, что через какое-то время мы сможем рассказать о каких-то практических итогах, практических результатах той работы, которая началась у нас в эти дни. Спасибо всем еще раз огромное. Вместе мы большая дружная туристическая семья, вместе мы сила. И я думаю, что только в таком доверительном, откровенном, профессиональном диалоге мы сможем найти пути решения тех глобальных задач и вызовов, которые стоят перед туристической отраслью. И спасибо еще раз огромное всем тем спикерам, министрам туризма и главам туристических ведомств, само собой. Спасибо огромное всем тем экспертам, которые приехали в Санкт-Петербург и поделились с нами своим видением по всем этим актуальным темам. Я обязательно через Всемирную туристскую организацию найдем контакты всех тех, с кем не успели из спикером я лично познакомиться. Обязательно со всеми выйдем на связь. И надеюсь, что действительно огромное количество практических проектов будет реализовано по итогам сегодняшнего дня. Спасибо всем еще раз огромное.
Давайте я попробую на русском опять наизусть уже закрыть и завершить нашу ассамблею. В первую очередь, браво, Зарина, за такие теплые слова, за такой теплый прием. Мы все очень благодарны. Я уверен, что после тех больших мега-ивентов, которые Россия проводила за последние годы, наша ассамблея – это динамичное и логичное развитие вот этой истории, которая все связана с туризмом. И я уверен, что именно вот эта ассамблея, руководя с тобой и замечательными людьми, с которыми я познакомился в течение этих дней, обязательно поменяет Россию, имидж России как новую туристическую достопримечательность. Про Санкт-Петербург. Санкт-Петербург не нуждается по рекламе, но я думаю, что наша ассамблея была избрана в точном моменте и даст обязательно очень интересные результаты. Вот все наши друзья, которые вернутся в своих домах со своими друзьями, обязательно они будут говорить про то гостеприимство, про то все, что они видели и мы спасибо еще раз вам, что мы видели многое по этому прекрасному городу, и они обязательно вернутся, и обязательно вернутся со своими друзьями и семьями обратно. Я хочу использовать эти дни и не закончить ассамблею, а наоборот, продолжить и начать, может быть, заново историю России и ЮНВТО, потому что у нас очень много интересных идей. Мы всегда использовали наши встречи, чтобы намерить как-то дальнейшую программу нашей работы. Я уверен, что с такими людьми, как вы, как ваша команда, мы очень многое можем достичь. Я хочу поблагодарить всех за внимание, за те интересные идеи, которые мы вместе слушали, за вашу коллаборацию, которая была очень важна, вашу активность. Прошло 2-3 дня так быстро, но мы очень много чего смогли поговорить, послушать, спорить иногда. Но самое главное, что у нас есть цель, самое главное, что у нас есть интересные проекты. One Planet, мы говорим, да? Для меня One Planet вот это. Сидеть вместе думать и поддерживать друг друга, чтобы мир стал намного лучше, чем он есть. И туризм — это один из самых хороших инструментов, которые мы можем использовать. Я не хочу вас столько уже не хочу сколько говорить, потому что уже 3 дня я и Зарина, сколько нам пришлось выступать на этой прекрасной сцене, кстати. Я хочу просто поблагодарить всех людей, которые приняли участие, чтобы эта ассамблея была так красивая, так запоминающая. И мы отметили господина губернатора, который целый вечер вчера, кстати, был с нами и так тепло нас принял. Господин президент, он нас приветствовал первый день. Все люди, не хочу забыть кого-нибудь, где наш руководитель по туризму, господин Панкевич, очень близкий друг, я Женя его так называю, потому что он очень близкий друг, и с первого дня он начал эту большую работу. Георгий Сергеевич Полтавченко, с которым мы встретились в Чингду еще на прошлой ассамблее. Кстати, было очень символично, когда меня выбрали тот же самый день, утвердили Санкт-Петербург как столицу Генассамблеи, следующей Генассамблеи. И не хочу не забыть никого. Так что огромное спасибо. Спасибо Министерству иностранных дел, которое поддерживало Инна. Тебе большое спасибо и всем твоим. Огромное спасибо нашим дорогим переводчикам, которые мы замучили за эти дни, но без них ничего не вышло бы так хорошо и так классно, как все это было сделано за эти дни. Наши дорогие молодые ребята, волонтеры, которые 24 часа здесь стояли и помогали всем нам. Штаб сверху, который нам показывали эти видео и презентации, вам огромное спасибо. Те люди, которые занимались транспортом, я не хочу никого забыть, так что спасибо всем. Спасибо за то, что мы сделали эту ассамблею таким удачным. И сегодня нам еще предстоит узнать, где будет следующая ассамблея. Я хочу пожелать всего хорошего всем участникам нашим и тем, которые собираются завтра или послезавтра, и многие еще уехали сегодня. Желаю доброго пути, чтобы мирно возвращались в своих семьях, в своих домах. Те, которые едем в Москву, потому что в Москву у нас еще другая очень интересная программа ждет. Я думаю, что там уже еще будет возможность как-то пообщаться и поговорить на будущие наши планы. Желаю всего хорошего, буду скучать по вам. Плакать сейчас не буду, но, наверное, вернемся опять и будем вместе когда-то в Петербурге уже как туристы. Огромное еще раз вам спасибо. Я забыл нашу организацию, мои коллеги, мои друзья, которые 28 часов работали, чтобы все было так хорошо и красиво. Спасибо